Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. I'm Sarah.
And I'm James.
And today we're going to be continuing to talk about Singles Inferno.
Episodes 5 and 6.
Yes, episodes 5 and 6. So James, how's it going? What's up?
I'm doing good. Between the last episodes was Christmas, holiday, weekend stuff. Spend time with the family, normal stuff. It was good.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, about the same. Just kept it low key with the family. Had time off from work, hanging, being cozy. That's pretty much it.
Nice. I don't have any check-in things as far as what I'm watching. Do you?
I have been watching, what's it called? Welcome to Chippendales. There's a show on Hulu about the creation of Chippendales, that being the strip club for women that came out in the 80s. And I don't know. It's got Kamal Nanjiani. He was our fun fake Jedi in Obi-Wan, if you recall. And it's I guess it's sort of a true crime because, spoiler alert, there is some murder. But yeah, that's an interesting show.
Welcome to Chippendales.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or there is an actual documentary that I just saw came out too. So I don't know. It's the fictional one that says something about Chippendales in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been watching.
Cool.
Again, not very festive. Although I did check out the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special you recommended, and that was a fun time.
You enjoyed it? Okay.
Yeah.
I watched it with my family, and they weren't as into it. I don't know if I was really recommending as much as just saying this is a thing that exists, but I enjoyed it.
I enjoy the nonsensical, let's go steal Kevin Bacon. That was a fun time.
It's ridiculous that exists now. I don't know. I don't know who was inspired to create that, but it's out there. I have notes here on some stuff that we got into offline after the last episode.
Oh.
We continued our banter
yes.
about it. I was gonna say at the beginning because I thought that the show was heading in a direction like it did last season, and then it actually didn't. So we didn't get to the point in the show that I thought would be relevant to say some of the stuff. But yeah, I think I'll actually just save it until maybe it comes up naturally. It still might come up naturally in these 2 episodes, but we didn't get to the point where they're forcing people to go with them to paradise, essentially.
Oh, I think that's what's happening next.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it seems like that should be that, but yeah. But even that is different. You remember if the new people got to do this to just pick people last time? I don't think they did.
It was there was a competition, there was some sort of game, and the people who came in first, second, and third got to just pick people to go with them.
Yeah, okay. Because I think at least one of the girls that joined late last time, she never went to paradise.
Yeah.
So she didn't get this opportunity that these 2 new people are going to get. Okay. So the show is mixing it up. Maybe they won't even have that whole situation.
I would love for that situation to not happen because I found it awkward and I didn't like it. But anyway, before we dive deep into this, just a little, reminder out there. If you have trouble remembering who all these people are and what their names are, we have a little infographic with everybody on it that is up to date now that we've had more people added to the island. And you can find that on our Twitter account or Instagram, or if you're on YouTube, you're looking at it already. It's useful, maybe.
Keep watching pod. Keep watching pod on all platforms.
All platforms.
Right? There we go. Keep watching pod. There we go. I don't know. You want to dive right in? We doing this?
Yeah.
Episode 5 and 6. Okay. Where did we leave off last time, sir?
Where we left off was we had 3 couples match up to go off to paradise, but we hadn't gotten to see them in paradise at all. So episode 5 is basically almost entirely these 3 dates in paradise.
Yeah, I'd say these 2 episodes are the new 2 episodes that are this season is 2 episodes more than season 1.
Ah, yeah.
They spent a lot of time on these second paradise dates, and then they don't even have a cliffhanger with who are people are going to pick to paradise. It's just we got a new rule, and then that was the end of the 6th episode. So it feels almost not a lot happened, but then I wrote a ton of notes for this.
Oh, so many notes.
A lot of stuff actually did happen that
yeah,
maybe I didn't pick up on my first watch through.
It's just dates on dates on dates, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Because even the second episode is unofficial dates in Inferno.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So I think we actually got a lot of good stuff for this episode. these 2 episodes. But yeah, we got 3 paradise dates to start with.
Yeah, who do you want to start with?
Okay, so I'll go through the 3. The 3 are Dongwoo and Nadine,
Mm-hmm.
Hanbin and Saoun,
Mm-hmm.
and Jin Young and Sulgi.
Yeah.
I think we saved Jin Young and Sulgi for last.
That seems fair.
That seems right. Okay, that's probably the most talk noteworthy.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Date. And then I don't care which one we do first between the other 2. I'll let you choose.
I say we do Hanbin and Soin, because I feel like
Hanbin and Saoun. Okay.
that was pretty straightforward. For the most
Okay.
part.
With a twist though, because this date starts in an amusement park, Sarah. What?
Yeah, an amusement park inside the hotel they've completely rented the whole place, so it's just them and a few people like controlling the rides, and it's ridiculous.
It's in the hotel? Like, you think
Oh yeah.
that's what they say? Okay.
It's like an indoor carnival, basically.
Carnival, yeah. But they have rides. Like,
Yeah, there are rides in there, and I'm like pretty sure it's part of the hotel.
okay. I wasn't sure. So they go on like a tilt-a-whirl thingy, and like there's a
Mhm.
carousel. There's a lot going on. Maybe it just looks like the space is a lot bigger than it really is. Or did this hotel upgrade again? Like, did we discuss this before? Did this hotel upgrade since last
They
time?
might have. Well, like I think the first episode where they're like doing shots of like, ooh, they get to go to paradise. Like there is the carousel that gets shown in that. So I'm pretty sure it's part of the hotel. And maybe just last season they were like, let's not spend the money to rent out the whole carnival. Let's just keep them over here in their rooms. And they decided to go
Yeah.
bigger. Or the hotel went, fuck it, let's put a carnival in here, sure.
Yeah, I was also thinking maybe they did go last season, but it's not really the best date content necessarily. I would say.
I think it's probably a better date, but maybe you can't get as much content out of it, probably. Yeah.
It's more interesting, yeah, but just like forcing them to talk to each other in the hotel rooms or whatever is like probably better content for the TV show
Mhm.
than watching them go on rides and being like, oh, this is so much fun, but it doesn't really go anywhere for the relationship wise. Because this probably was the least chemistry. I don't know. How would you put this case?
I thought they were having a really good time. And maybe that is the illusion of the carnival. They seem like they're enjoying each other's company. And yeah, it felt like a good date from an outside perspective. Like if you don't think about how good of a date she had last time around with Young Jae and that baggage or whatever, like it seemed like it was going pretty well and they were laughing a lot and having conversations that seemed fine,
Yeah, they were comfortable with each other, but especially I guess this is later, but especially once they find out each other's ages, I think this really becomes more of like a we're friends having a good time together kind of thing.
See, that's what like the hosts say, and I don't know if it's a thing in the way they spoke in Korean that indicated that, but like from an outside perspective, without the host saying that, I don't think I would have come to the conclusion that they've switched to just being friends.
Okay.
I mean, is there anything in particular that you can point to that felt like that?
It's something just about how Hanbin is with like, I don't know, he like talks louder than the other guys do, and I don't know. I am probably putting things together from like previous episodes that people have said, so it's not it's not a completely cold read on it, but he seems like, like if you were gonna go to an amusement park with like a group of friends, you'd want to be Hanbin to be part of that group. Like he's gonna make it more fun,
Well, I think that's him true in like any setting on the show. Like he is the most outgoing and just naturally like brings a room together. And
Yeah.
I think he just continues that energy through this date. And there was nothing about the way she interacted with him that made me feel like it wasn't her vibe. Like she didn't seem uncomfortable or like just done with him. She was having fun.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the amusement park was just kind of generic. Like, I really didn't have any read on them. But then they're about to have dinner and reveal their age and occupation when they get back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And what did they reveal, Sarah? I'll say.
Okay,
after.
so well, this is weird the way he went around. He's like, I can definitely guess your age, but first tell me if you're in your 20s or 30s. And I'm like, what? That's ridiculous. Okay. And then when she says 20s, he guesses 22. It's
Yeah,
like,
what the hell
how
is
do
he
you
playing
guess
at
22 if you couldn't tell if she was in her 20s or 30s? What the fuck happened?
I think this was like a playful, like he's hoping she's 22 kind of thing.
Yeah, probably, because it turns out he's 24. Like, and we
Yeah.
found out before that she's 28. So, I'm guessing he feels awkward being, or there's a presumption that somebody in this room might feel awkward about him being 4 years younger than her.
Yeah, he guesses 22. She says 28, and then he says something like, "You're really young. I'm 24." Like, but in a way that like he immediately starts laughing when he says that he's 24.
Yes.
Like, and I just wrote in my notes like, at this point, the romantic part of the date is over. Like,
really,
considering the history of the 3 seasons now of Korean dating shows that I've watched, like young guy on these shows is the worst position to be in, I
guess. And it's a bummer because he seems like an all right dude. Like, he seems like a fun time. And I guess it happened last season too with like So Young being older. Like, I think she was the oldest on the cast. And it just like depends on if you're close enough to the average age of the people on the island, you're going to have a better time than if you're on the outs on either end.
Yeah. But even as a woman at 32, she was able to like have something with somebody, but it was not like she was also looking for an older guy, and so she had zero options on that front. Oh, what I should have mentioned, the check-in is because I have to wait for these Singles Infernos episodes every week. I did get back into Heart Signal because I needed my fill of Korean dating shows.
Yeah,
I think I've said that this is my favorite show, Singles Inferno, but I don't know. Heart Signal is really good in these like later episodes. It's like,
I gotta get back into it.
It's crazy, yeah. But there's also a 24-year-old guy on that show, and I haven't finished the season yet, but
having a rough time.
Yeah. And it's like that show is like 4 weeks long too, and he's still having a rough time.
Oh, geez, yeah.
This show's only 9 days, and it makes more sense that like, okay, girls aren't gonna give you a chance in 9 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, oh, this is over. But like, they still have a good time together in a way that if you didn't know about the importance of age in this culture, you wouldn't realize that this is like has become more of a friendship kind of deal. We also find out that Hanbin is actually a chef.
There's got to be one in every season of every Korean dating show. Just like there's got to be a chef.
Singles Inferno, if you're listening, no chefs next season. I want to see these people suffer and not be able to make food.
That's fair. That would be
no chefs
more
allowed.
Interesting, yeah.
But yeah, it seems like he has a lot of accolades as a chef.
Yeah.
None of which I could confirm if were impressive or not, but it seemed impressive. He's only 24.
Yeah. Grand prize at the Korean International Cooking Competition. Sounds fancy.
I think he went to Totsuki Academy, Sarah.
Is this a reference to that anime that I didn't enjoy?
Yeah, it is. Okay. What else do they do before we move on?
Oh, when they're like at the end of the date, they've eaten. She's just kind of like chilling on the couch, like doodling because she's an artist or whatever. And he comes in and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to draw you." And then he like sits there and he like sort of draws her. And it's not like good, but it's like it's okay. It's like a little cutesy cartoon almost of her. And I thought that would have been a cute moment if I guess he hadn't already been disregarded as too young, I guess. But, and then they do face masks together and they laugh a lot. It just seems like they're having fun. So it's a bummer that this is clearly not going anywhere.
Yeah. They did the face mask things in the same second date last year too. Do you think this is like a production planned activity or it just happened to be a thing that they decided to do both seasons?
I think last season the guy said he brought the face mask with. I don't know if it was still a production plant or not, but like I don't know, like those type of face masks are pretty popular in Korea, so it could go either way. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know if they say it, but also the host bust out the word Nuna.
Oh,
is this a direct equivalent of Oppa?
Yes, it is what a younger male would call an older woman who he's close to. It means big sister, but again, in a close friendship or in a relationship, it also comes into play.
Okay. And I wasn't sure if this was before or after he revealed his age, but Saoun chose Hanbin because she felt that he was cool about confessing his feelings back on Inferno.
Oh, yes. Yeah, she thought he was brave and seemed like a nice guy, and they hadn't had a chance to talk yet, so that's why she picked him.
Yeah. Do you think Hanbin and So-e should be a potential match.
Yes, they should, because everyone
Okay.
should stop being so fucking focused on one person and look around at the other losers and go, hey, maybe we'll hang out together. But that's my bigger issue with this entire show right now.
Yeah, they're gonna like talk later, but only in the context of like them being in the same situation.
Yeah.
And they feel like they handle their situations similarly as well. Like they're like tell the person that they're into like, oh, I don't want you to feel pressured by my feelings, like kind of thing. They both kind of do the same thing in like a cool way.
Yeah, except they're both like, I guess we'll just keep trying because we have to follow our hearts. I'm like,
Yeah.
you've known these people for 2 days. It can't be that serious. Move on, please. They've said they're
It's
not
all
interested.
right.
Let's go.
Now it's going to be different. Okay, we'll get to it when we get to them, but it's a little bit different than last season. But we haven't gotten to see what they do yet, so we'll
That's
see.
true. It all depends on this next step.
Yeah. So this was a fun date, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Long term. Let's do Dongwoo, Nadine next. Sarah.
Speaking of other things that aren't going anywhere long term.
This wasn't as definitive.
Oh no,
But-
it was
but-
100% definitive. We'll get to it, but he was like, "You should go talk to other people." Like he shut
Yeah.
this shit down.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, the age thing just as soon as I see that, I'm just like, well, there's no chance. Whereas like any other situation, at least there's a chance.
I don't even know that it was 100% the age thing here. I think he was just like, I'm not doing this crazy ass long distance thing while you're getting ready to like go to school
for
and be
this
busy
one.
all the time.
Yeah. No, I was just saying if you're comparing like the two dates,
Ah,
which one was less likely to continue?
okay.
I thought the age thing was just it's such a big deal for the younger man situation that like
Yeah.
I thought that was over immediately. Whereas this was like eventually it got to the point where it didn't seem like it was going anywhere.
But based on like they actually had a decent conversation and whatever, which I was like, good job, guys.
Dongwoo and Nadine do.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought this went pretty well. As far as like if you were going on a date with like a first date with somebody, like this is a good first date for a date that like isn't going to go anywhere afterwards, you know?
Yeah, you figured out exactly where you stand and that
Yeah,
this isn't going to work out.
Exactly.
And nobody felt super uncomfortable and adults got through it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah,
Good job.
exactly. They're just going to have dinner right away too.
Yeah, I think we only ever see them sitting at this table eating. We don't see them swimming or anything else. It's just talking and eating the whole way through.
Yeah. This conversation seems to be a lot more natural than Dongwoo and Sulgi's conversation was the first week. Yeah.
Both people were equally participating.
Yeah. Dongwoo offers to speak English, which was interesting.
This was a moment where I was like, do I not dislike Dongwoo? I don't know. Like,
Oh, really?
there's
Okay.
There's something about how he sounds in English that he sounds like softer and kinder, I guess. It kind
really?
of changed my opinion of him, and it's just dumb because it's just the way like his voice sounds, but I enjoyed his English speaking voice. We'll put it that way.
Oh, interesting. That's an unexpected take.
Yep, I also was unexpected.
I'm a little scared of what some of your takes are going to be throughout these 2 episodes, to be honest. But
Really?
I'm glad you I'm glad you didn't you kind of like Dongwoo here. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he's all right.
This is good. He's pretty good at English. I feel like it makes the conversation a little less natural when he switches to it, but it's still like appreciated by Nadine.
Mm. And it makes it easier for her because like she's been struggling this whole time. And he even says that he could kind of relate to it because, well, she's like talking about how she's grateful that he like made an effort to talk to her. And she wasn't sure if it meant that he was into her or if he was just a nice guy. But she was really grateful because she was feeling uncomfortable. And he said that he had spent a year when he was younger living in the States. And so like he knows what it's like to be the person who, you know, isn't really comfortable with the prevalent language. And so like it made him want to take care of her, which again rolls into my whole theory that he never really liked her that much. He just enjoys taking care of people.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he was interested, but knew that like, okay, once he finds out like Nadine's true situation that he already pretty much guessed. Yeah, it does kind of remove the interest level.
Yeah.
Overall, for this conversation, I feel like I got the vibes that Solgi is going to describe later to Dongwoo when she like is going to officially kind of like reject him in the next episode. And that's that like Dongwoo, he kind of feels like he's like a therapist or like professor or something sometimes when he talks to you, where he's like and Solgi interprets this as like, oh, he's treating her, and I kind of got the vibe with Nadine here, like, oh, they are younger than him, and it just like it comes across in like a non-romantic way, you know. Whereas like I feel like this is just Dongwoo's personality, because maybe he is like a mentor to a lot of people since he is a doctor. I don't know, and this is just how he talks to people.
See, for me, it felt different here. It felt like he was just having an actual conversation and like getting to know her pretty well. Whereas the Solgi conversation, and maybe it's because she was not like responding and like pushing the conversation further, didn't feel that way. I just felt like he kept asking her if she liked him just in different ways, and it was weird. But here he like was a human and was just like, yeah, let's get to know each other and press further into the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I think Dongwoo asked Nadine much tougher questions than he asked Solgi.
That's true.
I felt that vibe, and then Solgi's going to go on to like explain it to him to kind of as part of her rejection, which I was like, okay. But I don't have an issue with what Dongwoo is doing. It's just, I feel like that's just him, you know. And some people would be into it, I think, like kind of these more, it's almost like more formal conversation, like almost like an intellectual conversation in a way. But we get to find out their age and occupation of Nadine. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I think actually Nadine guesses that Dongwoo is 27.
Yes, and she is low-key shocked when he says he is 32.
In like a way that I couldn't tell if like Dongwoo should be offended that she thinks he's so much younger, because she's gonna like kind of harp on it like a couple of times. You're like, you really seem like you're a lot younger, but in like a way that's weird.
Yeah.
And then before we get to Nadine, she also, when they get to occupation, she also, when she finds out she's a doctor, she's like, oh, what's your field? Dermatology? And he's like, close. And she's like, plastic surgery? I was like, I guess those things go together. I don't know. I'm kind of blown away.
They're more on the cosmetic side, you know. Dermatology can be in that sort of field, I guess.
I'm just like impressed how fast they got to the exact right answer.
But I do kind of wonder if like dermatologists are the doctors that other doctors shit on. I don't know if that's true, but just the way she said it kind of made it sound like, really? You're not a dermatologist, are you?
Oh, really?
I don't know. It was silly. I couldn't get a read on it, but I don't know. Have to find a doctor and ask.
Yeah. So Nadine finds out he's 32, and then she's like, there's a 9-year difference between us. And then they do this whole thing that maybe you can explain to me again, where they're talking about like Korean age versus international age.
Okay, so all the ages we have heard so far have been in Korean ages. And in Korea, when you are born, you are considered 1 year old. And then on January 1st, everybody in the country turns a year older. Like, they celebrate birthdays, but you change the number on January 1st. So you could be born on Christmas, considered 1 year old, and then a week later, it's January 1st, and now you're 2 years old. So usually, like, the Korean age is a year or two older than what is called international age, which is what everybody else uses.
So Dongwoo could be closer to 30 to us than he is to 32.
Yeah, it all depends on when his birthday is and what time of year it's filmed. But yeah, so 30 to 31.
But if you're one when you're born, so you're at least 1 year different than the international age. Yes. But it could be up to almost 2 years off.
Yeah, depending on when your birthday falls.
That's actually crazier than I thought it was. Okay. So yeah, Nadine is 23 in
Korean age, yes.
And 22 internationally. And then we're going to find out she's a student, which Dongwoo guesses. And she's pre-med at Harvard.
And it cuts to the host, and they absolutely lose their shit. They're just like, oh my God, Harvard? What? Harvard? Yeah. Oh my God.
Harvard's got a big name, even in Korea. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, and then they play, I don't know what the song is because I don't know a lot of songs, but it is like a bad bitch anthem, basically, where she's like, look at me, be amazing. And she's just like showing shots of her at school being an absolute badass. And I love this segment because I love Nadine.
Yeah, this was I had a huge reaction to this. I was like, why are they playing this badass music for like a student montage?
Well, she's a double major in neuroscience and computer science. That's like a fuck ton of work.
Yeah.
She also has a job researching like epilepsy at a children's hospital. Like, I don't know why she's on the show, she's too amazing and busy for this shit. Like, I don't get it.
The song was like, look at me go, look at me go. Look at me go, look at me go.
It was a perfect song choice because it was great.
I think they're mixing it up with the music this year. I definitely don't remember them doing all these. There's a couple of moments that I also was like, interesting music choice. Yeah, it is interesting to think about, like, okay, how did Nadine decide to be on this show? Like, she must have seen the first season and been like, oh, I could probably get on. Like, maybe they'll let me on the show. And then she just tried out and got on. But it is kind of crazy that she's here.
Yeah, presumably it's her summer break. And I don't know, she just wanted to have an adventure maybe. But like... Yeah.
They said it's her... So I think she's like senior year undergrad. So...
I think she's like she said junior year. So I guess that means she might have just finished her junior year. I'm not sure.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, maybe she's going into her senior year. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. But she also wants to pursue surgery. And then when Dongwoo mentions that he's a plastic surgeon, she's like, oh, that's what I want to specialize in. Like, Jesus. What the hell? This is crazy. This is the closest. There was no like jobs that were exactly the same last year, right? Especially not cross-gender.
Yeah. Other than just like everybody's a CEO of something last season. Yeah,
that's true. And I feel like Dongwoo, after the reveal, and maybe before too, like, he doesn't seem that into Nadine. And I couldn't pick exactly what it was, but I have like it could be the traveling distance. It could be the age
it is
difference.
A decent chunk of age, yeah.
It is, yeah, and it's pretty significant, and especially since they're in the same field. I wrote, like, he probably knows how busy her life is about to get.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, he's probably aware of like how much his life changed when he went through those like phases of his career, right. To the point that like I think it's fair to be like, okay, the Nadine in front of me will not be the same Nadine in 5 years, 6 years time, or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
So
not only that, just like during that time, would they even get to spend time together? Like, with the travel and the being busy, like, I think it's totally reasonable that he takes a step back from this. And it's just like, this isn't going to work out. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was fine with it. And I think Dongwoo explains how I feel like he's more all in on his relationships. I think he explains, whereas Nadine is, because she knows she's going to be busy, is like, she wants something that's not going to be like someone that needs a lot of attention, I guess. I guess she's like, I don't know if Dongwoo needs a lot of attention, but however she was describing it, he was not feeling that either, it seemed.
Yeah, she was saying that like she used to throw herself all the way into relationships, but she kind of indicates that she got hurt and doesn't want to be emotionally vulnerable. And so like they seem to be looking for totally different things, you know? Like later she describes what she's looking for to someone else as casual and hot. And I think Dongwoo's maybe looking for something a bit more serious than that.
Yeah. He's in his 30s. Get serious.
Gotta get his shit together.
Yeah. So Dongwoo's gonna kind of give Nadine advice about approaching guys more. Like he's trying to like tell her like, oh, what you did with me, like you should feel confident to do that with other guys too. Like it's kind of the sense that I got.
He like doubles back, because at this point he's speaking in English, and I think he's trying to be extra clear. He's like, not just in dating in general, but here in Inferno, go talk to the boys.
Oh, well, he actually says it the other way around, but I think he is trying to be like he is trying to indicate that he's not really interested, so that she knows, yeah.
And she gets it. Like the last thing we see of their date is her just going, interesting. That's it. Date over.
Yeah, I still liked that we learned about Nadine in this date, so I had a good time.
Yeah, definitely. And I do not have anything to complain about as far as Dongwoo's behavior on this date. I'm not angry at him.
Before we get to the next date, though, like if you go back and like, I don't think Dongwoo did anything differently in this date. It was just like the person he was with didn't respond to it, right? The first time.
I think last time he was not reading Seolgi's reactions very well, and like
I feel like he's just being him. It's not really like, I don't know, does he really have to hardcore change his approach?
I'm not asking him to change. I'm just saying like she's giving indications that she wants to take it slow, and he's like asking hard questions. Not hard questions, but like
they're not
kind
hard
of
questions.
Pushing up against that like line she's drawing.
with Solgi.
I don't know. He was a little pushier with Solgi than Solgi was comfortable with, and that was his problem last time.
I think he was exactly the same with Nadine and wasn't pushy with Nadine. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's because I think Nadine is a different person. Like, she responded to it better, and that's fine. But like, you got to pay attention to who you're with and sort of like not change who you are, but like actively try to not make them feel uncomfortable.
Okay, I don't have a problem with it. I think Dongwoo's got to figure out what information he needs as well. Got to do what you got to do.
He also seemed like not in tune with what was like he just kept talking about how he was having a great time, and I'm like, she is clearly not having a great time. She is not into this, and just
okay.
Anyway, I'm not gonna argue about him in the last episode anymore.
All right, let's get to Jin Young and Solgi. We'll see how Solgi is on the second date.
Now this is a date. Oh man,
it is. I will say it starts off pretty similar to her date with Dongwoo.
I think it couldn't be more different.
Okay, well, I'm talking at the very beginning. Like, they awkwardly order food. That's the same thing that happened.
But no. This is different in that, like...
Okay.
In that one, with Dongwoo, he was like, let's get this, and I want to drink. And in this one, Jin Young's more like...
That's not what he did.
What do you want?
We gotta go watch the tape on that. They both were like, I don't know what we should get. And then he did be like, I kind of want to drink. But that was... he was not that forceful. The way you just said it.
No, he was definitely like, I don't know. I imagine that Solgi faces this a lot as a non-drinker in Korea, or somebody who doesn't drink so much, where she'll be out somewhere and people like are confused and weirded out by the fact that she doesn't drink or whatever. And like Dongwoo sort of had that reaction where he was just like, what? You don't want to drink? I had envisioned we would drink. Whereas Jin Young's just like, do you drink? No, then I don't need to drink, whatever. And that was it about it. Like, it was an easier situation for her.
Well, that wasn't it about it, though. That wasn't it about it.
Well, because she came back and she's like, are you sure? Like, you can still get something that's fine. I'm fine with it. But, like, that felt like a much better situation than with Dongwoo, who's like, well, let's just get champagne. You know, like, it was...
Okay. I don't drink either, Sarah, so nobody could sympathize more with Solgi than I can. You know? If I'm just comparing the beginning of these, like, he says, oh, I don't have to drink. And then she is like the one that's weird about it. Like, she's like, are you sure you're not going to regret not drinking tonight? And then she's like, almost like pushing him to be like, you should drink because I can tell you want to. Even though, like, I couldn't really tell you once. Like, I don't know. So then he like almost gets a drink because she almost insisted on it. You know, it was like the reverse of last time.
To me, it looked like two people trying to like accommodate each other.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, you're going to see a lot of positives on this date, I can tell.
Are you going to not like this
All
date?
Right.
Interesting. Oh, man.
I don't not like this date, but it's... Okay, we'll get to it. Here we go. Oh, wait, what else happens? Jin Young is a cool guy, though. I do think he's cool.
Oh, yeah, they show a part where he's, like, exploring the bedroom, and he just, like, walks full on into a mirror, like, not paying attention, and it's funny.
Yeah, what is this guy looking for, bro?
He's just checking out his hotel room. He's checking drawers. He's checking light switches. This is what I do when I go to a hotel room for the first time. I'm like, gotta make sure everything's fine.
I do check it, but there was like a speed at which he was doing it that was a little intense, but I don't know. Like he was open every drawer like really fast. Click all the lights really, really fast. You know, like, I mean, I test everything when I go to a new space, but like there's something weird about how fast he did it.
He's you know, getting this done real quick so he can go back to his date.
All right, I'm just going to let you describe this date, Sarah, because I'm so curious what you thought about this date.
Okay.
As a whole.
Well, they get their food, and they're very, like, she's giggly the whole time, right? Like, she is in the zone for this date, right?
She's actually engaged, but I don't know. They don't talk that much for as well as this date is going to go.
I mean, they don't have like an in-depth conversation. Like,
yeah, they don't have. These are not deep individuals we're talking about here.
Well,
doesn't seem
at this
like it,
stage, you know, it might be like, especially he says over and over again in lots of different circumstances that he takes a while to warm up to people. So like, he's not going to jump out on first date and be like, "What are your biggest fears in life?" You know, like that's not going to be him.
I mean, he kind of does do that with other girls, though. That's what's weird. I don't know. Solgi is going to her go-to thing is just say like, oh, I'm really nervous. You know, like she doesn't really ask him anything personal, or she just keeps talking about how nervous she is.
No, she definitely does. She asks about, he's got a big like full sleeve tattoo, And she asks him about the like meanings behind that. Yeah, she kind of asks some stuff. Like, it's not the best date ever, but it is the best date in this episode because they both seem to enjoy each other.
It's the spiciest TV for sure.
I mean, he opens her bottle of water with a spoon and impresses her.
That was in my cool guy section of my notes.
Yes, he's got cool guy moves all over the place.
This is also in my cool guy section. I don't know if this is actually cool guy though. He was like, I didn't want to be too nice to you at first because I thought it would be intimidating.
Oh yeah, he didn't want to make her uncomfortable. Like, and that's like 100% her vibe. Like, Dongwoo was doing too much and she didn't like it. So he made the right move here.
You heard it here. Don't be too nice.
Well, says the cool guy who doesn't talk to people. I don't know. Like, that's his jam. It worked for Solgi. That's all I can say.
All right, let's find out these age and occupations.
Well, we already know she's 25 and a piano student.
Yeah.
She guesses that he is 28, and she is correct.
He guesses that she's around the same age. Are they around the same age? I guess so.
I think he then went in and said like 27, 28. So she's a little younger, I guess, than he anticipated, but it's not a big difference. So yeah, it should be fine.
He turns out to be basically the equivalent of like ex-Navy. They call it UDT. Yeah. It's like a military. And he was in it for 4 years, but then he got discharged.
Yeah, I looked it up, and it's like the equivalent of the Navy SEALs, which I think is impressive. It seems like this is an impressive thing, but I don't know military stuff.
Yeah, the hosts say it's a big deal. But now, since he's been discharged, now he's a YouTuber who YouTubes about military things? Is that...
I thought it said he was going to start making military content, and I was like, but what is your current content? I don't know.
Maybe he was like really recently discharged. Like he hasn't even moved on with his life yet. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this military experience gave him the technique he needed to win a tug of war.
I mean, she does somebody brings it up, right? Maybe it was her or the host, or like, oh, that's why he won. Yep.
Maybe it wasn't a physics error like I thought it was. Maybe he's just legit knows some secret sand running technique. Yeah, exactly. And we also found out he didn't go to university. Yeah. Which isn't a big deal, except that basically like these two people, Solgi and Jin Young, they have nothing in common. Like they could not have anything less in common with each other.
I mean, they're in their 20s and they think each other are hot, and sometimes that's enough.
That's this whole date. That's the entire date. This okay, and then is this a cool guy move? I have no idea. She's like, she asked like if she should call him Oppa, and then he's like, don't call me Oppa, just say like hey or you or something.
Oh, it's totally a cool guy move.
You think it's cool? Okay. I thought she was a little sad.
She did seem sad, but like he didn't even say don't call me that. It's like his brain short-circuited. He's like made a weird noise and was just like, oh, shook his head back and forth. Just like, God, no, please don't. But she definitely calls him Oppa at some point later. So too bad for whatever he wanted. She, I think, likes to call people Oppa.
Yeah, yeah. And then, so his entire like right arm, all the way up to like his right pec, is like a sleeve. Yeah. And it's like, it really looks like some like a tribal like Samoan tattoo.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
But then when they zoomed in on it, when he explained it, like it's actually like a bunch of bullets.
Yeah, I really don't like this tattoo.
It's kind of aggressive as fuck.
When it was just like some like tribal looking whatever nonsense, I was like, okay, sure.
Nice. Yeah.
But like when we're in and it's just rows and rows of bullets, I was like, goodbye, no thank you. I'm going to leave now. So learning all about his history made me less into Jin Young. Not my vibe, but yeah, cool guy is going to be cool guy, so whatever.
Yeah. They're both going to say that they've never met someone like the other person.
Which seems unlikely.
I know. I think it seems very likely, you know?
Really?
Why would a piano student have ever met like an ex
I guess that's
SEAL,
true.
You know?
If you're getting into the very specifics, but in terms of like, I don't know, pretty college girl meets guy who's maybe trying too hard to be cool. Yeah, I think yes.
Oh, you want to like really generalize the people and be like, you've met them before.
Sure.
Okay. But is this romantic, Sarah? Is it romantic to have nothing in common with somebody? Because it seems like it might be.
For them, it definitely, yeah. I think they're feeling it.
Even in the context of like Dongwoo and Nadine, it's like part of it might just been like Dongwoo was like, we're in the same field and like he's not comfortable with that, or I don't
which
know.
is like two the same.
They're too identical. Yeah.
I think it is important to be somewhere in the middle, have some sort of healthy balance.
Yeah, that's how I feel like you need something in common. Like
Yeah.
this date's gonna go like really well in a sense, I guess. But I just don't see how these two can keep this up, you know?
They might have things in common, we just don't know them yet. You know, like they might find something along the way.
Could it be that what they have in common is that they both have no hobbies? Because that's what Jin Young said. And I've yet to learn anything about Seolgi besides that she plays the piano.
I bet she would think his motorcycle is super cool. I think she'd be into that.
If he was on it, yeah.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah. Oh, I don't think Seolgi would get on the motorcycle though. Well, maybe she could be peer pressured into it.
She'd get there eventually, yeah. Not at first, but she'd get there. Because he does ask her if she's afraid of water. And she says no. And he's like, then let's go swimming. And she's like, she pulls the same move again where she's like, you just go in and I'll just hang out.
What is happening? She's just like really shy.
Yeah, she does not want to be like, look at me in my bathing suit, you know, which, you know, I can respect. That's fine. But
I guess, I mean, considering who she is, like, it's a little crazy, but
yeah, everybody's, you know, got their own insecurities or weird vibes about things.
Maybe it's 'cause the only thing I thought could be legit is like, okay, she knows it's a TV show. Like maybe that
she doesn't want everyone to see her in a swimsuit. Yeah.
If she was legitimately alone with this guy, like, I don't know, it's crazy to me how shy she's going to be. But if she's like really conscious of like the cameras and everything, I could maybe understand it.
I mean, she does have a swimsuit that is, I want to say, more substantial than you sometimes see. You know, like the bottoms are tall.
Oh, really?
You know, like it covers up her stomach a bit.
I mean, it's not a bikini, but it's like, I mean, her cleavage is still out, which is like, you don't really get to see a lot of cleavage on this show. So
that's true. But I mean, on the scale of swimsuits, hers covers up more than you might anticipate, you know,
I guess so. I mean,
on a show. So like I can see the thread of like she doesn't want to show off her body too much, maybe.
It looked like she picked a swimsuit that would look good on her though, you know? Like,
well, yeah, of course she's going to pick something that looks good on her, but that doesn't mean she wants everyone everywhere to see. Yeah, but anyway, he gets in the pool and then it's not too long afterwards where eventually she's like, "Okay, I'll change and I'll get into."
Yeah, so you skipped over something I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Though. Jin Young actually legitimately thought that she wasn't going to pick him because when they had their special meal in the last episode, she was like, "Oh, my type is someone who laughs easily," and Jin Young was like, "Well, I never laugh," so he was like, he doesn't laugh easily at all.
Except she does make him laugh a couple times.
Okay,
so
okay, I have notes on this. Okay,
yeah.
She does make him laugh. There was a point where she's like trying to explain why she picked him. And she's like, I was choosing between somebody who liked me and someone that I liked. And then she had to like pause and be like, wait. And then she said, I mean, somebody I'm curious about. Like she was embarrassed to admit that she liked him.
Or she's still trying to follow the rules of the show where she can't actually say she likes someone, maybe. I don't like that might have been part
Not
of it.
in Paradise though.
In Paradise, are you allowed to say that you like people?
Everything's out the window at this point.
I guess that's true.
Basically though, like like we said, she's really into Jin Young because he's hot. She thinks he's hot, basically.
I mean, that's what we assume, and it seems pretty likely.
Yeah, and then I forget what Jin Young's saying, but he's saying something like, oh, he like maybe he wants to talk to all the girls, and then she's like, I'll wait for you.
Oh no! She says like it takes a while for him to warm up to people, and she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll be patient. I'll wait for you. That's fine."
But she's "I'll wait for you," and the host have a huge reaction to this "I'll wait for you" line.
It's a great line in this context. Like
it is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows nothing about this guy other than that he's hot. But yeah, okay.
I mean, what do they know about anybody on this show at this point? It's basically just levels of hotness and ages. You know, when you get to Paradise.
Maybe this one's particularly not a lot of conversation to me, but yeah, she's basically telling him she's not into any other guys, and then I have no idea how this came up actually, but then maybe he was talking about boundaries or something, and she was like, "Can I cross your boundaries?" If you know what I'm saying.
And yeah, this gets a big reaction from him. He just like laughs and throws himself back on the couch and like starts turning red. And
yeah, she finally broke him with this comment, and he smiled. And the hosts go wild, Sarah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she seems to know what she's doing in terms of flirting on this date. You know, like it's working.
But this is like flirting that we've never seen on the show before. I don't know. Wait, let's get into what happens in the water, and then you can tell me how you felt about it.
Okay. They're kind of swimming around and just kind of hanging out, and there's a certain amount of distance between them. And at some point, she's starting to talk about, predicting what kind of game they might play next, on the beach for stuff or whatever. And he just like comes up and like links a finger with one of her fingers and starts like pulling her through the water just gently. And she loses complete track of everything she was saying. And I don't know, they're just gliding around in the water together and like holding pinkies. It's cute.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were going to think this was like kind of a creepy kind of move, but
No?
I actually like got a creepy vibe from it. But when I watched it back, I don't know, are like all these signals that she's saying, like, I'll wait for you and can I cross your boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
And I think at one point she like talking about how she noticed a bruise on his arm, and she's like basically telling him that she's like been checking him out.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the vibe. Like, is this a strong enough of a vibe to him to feel like this isn't a weird thing to do? Because in the context of this show, like this is the equivalent to me of like them like hardcore making out, or like maybe even more than that. Like that's how intense this moment was on this show. But then,
That's
like,
true. Nobody
linking
ever
fingers.
like even holds hands on this show. You are correct in that.
She keeps saying things that indicate she's cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, her face is like very like almost panicky. Like she doesn't really know what's about to happen, or like, or like, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't read it as panic so much as just like, oh my gosh, is this happening? Like, I thought she was having a good time still. And I think what is nice about the weird little finger linking is that it's not like a full handhold. It's not putting any amount, like, it's very easy for her to like stop this from happening and get it. Like, he is not actively controlling any part of her body, really, like it is a minimal amount of touch to sort of break that touch barrier in a very like non-threatening way.
Yeah. Oh, another one of her signals was she told him how she didn't swim yesterday with Dongwoo after she got in the water with him.
Yes,
and every time she says like one of these things that like nobody ever says in the show, like that's what breaks him to make him smile,
Mm-hmm.
When he did grab her finger, it was like she was like about to start asking him about like things about the show and like potentially ask him about his like interest in other girls in a way that like when he grabbed her made it seem like, to me at least, that like he was almost grabbing her in attempt to like get her to stop talking
Really?
whatever she was about to ask him. And it like really worked. Like as soon as they like linked fingers, she like kind of froze and like stopped talking and like
Yeah, her brain went a little fuzzy for a second.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't think he was like, I thought he just wanted to like, break that touch barrier, get a little closer. I thought it was cute.
Okay. So basically you're just cool with it because
Solgi's cool with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because consent is key. There you go. She's giving the vibe.
Okay. I was like more comparing it to like her date with Dongwoo, because I'm trying to like get the vibes of these people based on 2 dates is kind of like the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And like this is like a million times more intense than anything Dongwoo tried to do. Like,
yeah, but she's giving all the signals that she is into this guy hardcore, and she gave all the signals to Dongwoo of please stop.
Please stop trying to talk to me on a a show about talking to each other.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. When I watched it back, there was like a lot more like hardcore signals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't have faith in this couple long term. I think they should just, do it and move on with their lives. That's me.
I mean, sometimes it starts out as they don't know anything about each other. They're just hot. And then they find something that, brings them together and it works out. Who knows?
I suppose.
I mean, I have ideas about who they might pair better with, but we'll get to that later.
Ooh, who do you think Solgi should be with? I have ideas for Jin Young, but
yeah, I don't think I have any ideas for
Solgi.
I
don't have any ideas. I don't know what Solgi wants. Like she finally found.
I mean,
like,
she wants a hot guy with a motorcycle.
That's all I know. Like she for once in her life saw a guy that was crazy hot and had a chance to go out with him, and then she's like I don't know, she's like on cloud nine, but I don't
Yeah.
think like the reality of anything has set in yet about like what it actually would mean to date somebody long term, because I don't think she has, but I don't know.
I think you really don't like Solgi.
Yeah. I'm more defending Dongwoo in this like argument than
Mm-hmm.
anything else, because I just think it's crazy how different she was, but
Well, that's what happens
it's
when
fine.
you're with somebody you feel comfortable
It's
with
fine.
versus somebody you're not comfortable with.
Yeah, but the comfortability is not based on anything that was said. It's just like it's
I
just like
mean,
who do you think is hotter is the reason that they're comfortable,
that's
right?
what we're assuming. Like that doesn't necessarily like we don't know what was going on in her head at
Feels
the
like a
time. Like
safe assumption.
it could have been anything, you
Okay.
know?
I think she's a little bit in the moment here. That's my opinion. But
Well, I feel equally cynical about all these people on this show.
oh,
So
really? I don't.
yes.
Only yeah, when they get out of the water, like okay, you didn't say this when they got out of the water. When we kind of mentioned it, but like she was so like timid to be in her swimsuit that like she walked into the water with her robe on and like got it wet like on the
Mm-hmm.
bottom half and then took it off. And then when she got out, she like wanted a robe immediately for when she got out. So I don't know. It was just something really awkward about it.
Did she want it immediately or did he go, I'm going to go get you a robe? Like, I don't know that we saw that.
I think she wanted it. Like she like stayed like he went in to get it and she stayed like in the water until he got back and then
We didn't see that conversation. I think you're just thinking the worst of her regardless. You really don't like Sulky.
there's nothing worse of it. It was just that I'm just trying to lay down the vibes of Sulgi. That's what we're
Oh.
getting. This is what we're getting.
Well, I think the vibes of Jin Young was he went immediately to get her a robe because he didn't want her to feel uncomfortable, but then he also got the bottom half of the robe wet.
That's
so
not Jin Young's too cool for that. He don't care.
I
We'll
mean,
find
he
out
went
later.
and did it, but
He's not
okay.
paying that close attention. Oh yeah, Jin Young does say she asked him what his type is, and he's like cute and sexy.
Yes.
He might have said you. He might have said you too, but
Yeah. Well, the first thing he says is you. So, like, not to put too fine a point on it, but it's her. And then
Yeah.
he says that cute and sexy.
if you were on the show, Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody was like, "Oh, I'm into cute and sexy," would you actually? I mean, he specified it with you to start, but it was like
Mhm.
if somebody just like, "Oh, I like cute and sexy girls," I'd be like, oh, "Okay, so you like every girl on the show?" Like every girl on the show is like cute and sexy, like maybe with like different percentages, but like
Mhm.
you know, I don't know what percentage Solgi is. Is she like perfect 50-50 or like I don't know what the goal here is, but
I don't know.
yeah. It's almost like not a compliment because it's like, oh, so like anybody on the show.
Yeah. I mean, it is a very generic, what is your type?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
would you rather have that or them pick apart and be like, I like eyes that are exactly like this?
Well, the new guy, especially, and maybe the girl too, that we're gonna get to in the next episode, like he has such a great answer for what your type is. Like it's so good. It's like an actual answer that makes sense. My vibe overall this date though is just like because Solgi was still weird about getting in the water, and like I just feel like he was just like he's too hot to say no to any of these things. You know, like that's like the vibe I got.
I got the vibe that she was just more comfortable in this situation.
It didn't feel like that to me, but okay.
There is a morning part to this date where
I didn't even write notes on this. It was whatever to me, but go ahead.
no, it's so weird. I mean, this is where she calls him
Oh, it is
Oppa.
weird, but I didn't.
And
I didn't know
she
what to-
asks him to style her hair. And I'm like, this man of all men does not know how to style your hair. Why are you doing this? And like, so he's going at it with a flat iron and he's like not doing a good job. And she's trying to be playful and flirty, but she's also like, what are you doing to my head? Like, it is so weird.
Yeah, I couldn't even comment on whether or not anything was being done right or wrong in this scene. So it just seemed like, hey, they were playful with each other to me.
They were playful and it was cute, but it was also like, this is the weirdest thing to do on what is still your first date. It's like, hey, style my hair for me.
Yeah, I thought it was weird.
But I think she just wanted to spend more time with him. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it came down to.
Before we get to day 4, though, let's talk about Inferno Night 3, which is the same night as these
Yes.
Paradise dates, and the 4 non-Paradise people: Youngjae,
The losers.
Jongwoo, Youngjae, Jongwoo, Soe, and Baeyeon are in a
Mhm.
tent together, and they're just talking.
Yeah, around a fully built Jenga tower that they've not touched.
They've
And
not
it's just
touched it.
sitting
Let's-
in between them.
Yeah, let's play Jenga, and then they don't play Jenga, or they played and then they didn't want to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Youngjae's gonna say that I made the wrong choice as his
Yes.
vague comment of this conversation. And then we find out Jungwoo is going to keep going after Seulgi, unless maybe she really pushes him away. And then
Yeah.
the whole group is rooting for Jungwoo.
His logic here is so weird because somebody's like, if she comes back and you talk and she doesn't pick you again, what are you going to do? And he's like, well, if she goes back to paradise again, that would be with 3 men. So I definitely still have a chance. I'm like, what does that even mean?
No, he's saying like
she hasn't doubled down on anybody, I guess.
If he went back with the same guy, that would be an indication that she likes a guy. But because of you can only pick one guy at a time, it's like, okay, he's 4th on her list and she didn't have success with the first 3,
Every single person on this show who has ever thought they are up next on this list has been wrong. Like, it's just not, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, I would say that's true. But, there are people that, like, let's say, like, Dongwoo is going to have gone twice with the girls that he's not going to be going out with again. Yeah. So if there was a girl who was obsessed with Dongwoo, like, she might succeed being the 3rd one on the list, So it's not mathematically impossible.
It just seems very unlikely, especially like in this scenario where they're talking about it's if she came back and he has a talk to her about his feelings and she still doesn't like want to pick him next, like the likelihood that she will ever pick him is pretty low.
Yeah.
So like, get to know other people on this fucking island already. Like that's how I feel about half of the people on this show.
So, but what is like, okay, we can get into what we talked about after the last show. But like, what do you think Jungwoo's options are here? I mean,
Sejong is an option. Like from the very beginning, she was like, "Hey, let's go." Or maybe she did that to Youngjae, but like really, like right now,
it wasn't Jungwoo she was doing it with.
Like right now, I think that would be if he just like started talking to her and was like, "I could be curious about you." I think she'd be like, "Yeah, let's go."
I don't know.
She'd totally go to paradise with him.
Now they've been on Inferno with each other for 4 days at this point. I feel like they've talked, and it's not something that either of them are interested in.
But all they ever talk about is how he's sad that
that's what we see on the show. They're not going to show these boring conversations between Sejong and Jungwoo. And then like Soe is like
also just sad all the time,
outwardly obsessed with Youngjae. So it's like you don't really want to get involved in that,
Yeah.
And then we are going to see Jungwoo talk to Nadine, but we don't actually get to hear the conversation.
I'm very bummed about that. They seemed like they were having a fun time in whatever little tent that was, and I want to know what was going on.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I think what I brought up offline with you was like, let's just run through if I was on this show.
Okay.
Sarah, okay? Mm-hmm. In this specific scenario.
Yeah.
And put me in Jungwoo's spot.
Okay. You've picked Seulgi, the person you personally don't like at all.
No. I'm not going to pick who Jungwoo's picking, but I'm taking his spot in the cast,
Oh, okay. I see.
I feel like if you go on the show, realistically, like the most amount of girls you're going to be able to date or like go to paradise with is like 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably like, you pick your top 3 pretty early on.
Okay.
So let's say I pick like Nadine, Soe, and Saoun. Okay.
Okay.
Then after like the first night, like I don't match with anybody, just like Jungwoo.
Yeah.
Saoun goes to paradise. And then say like, okay, I don't match with Nadine again the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Like at that point, it's like, okay, Saoun's with Yoonjae.
Yeah.
So he's obsessed with Yoonjae.
Mm-hmm.
Like Seyeon is there, and like maybe that's an interesting option.
Mm-hmm.
But she wasn't like the person that jumped out to me in the beginning. Like I could go that route. But if I really like feel like I like Nadine and would have good vibes with Nadine if I had the opportunity, like I don't think it's crazy just to be like, yeah, I'll just try Nadine again. Like and I'm not gonna go in, but I wouldn't be like so emotional about it where I'm gonna be upset if it doesn't work out. But I'm just like, well, the best play for me to actually have a relationship after the show that's serious is to like try the person I actually like a 3rd time. Like, who cares? That's how I feel.
But I mean, if you've had like a conversation with her every day where you're like trying to make things move along and it's not going anywhere, are you still gonna pick her?
Now, do you think Jungwoo has had that? I don't think he has.
He's gone off and had a conversation with her like every day. It's not been a great conversation, but like it's clearly not making any moves.
But I don't think they've been like bad conversations, especially the ones that he's going to have in these 2 episodes. Like these 2 episodes almost were like positive interactions.
Until you get to the very end when Solgi and Jin Young are talking on a porch and kind of more or less making fun of him for like constantly talking to her.
Oh, the 2 girls are, yeah.
No, Solgi and Jin Young, like when they, at the end of the next episode, when everybody's like paired off after their campfire time, they hang out on a porch and he's just like, your friend is over in, she asks who's in the little tent, and it's Nadine and Jungwoo. And he's just like, oh yeah, your friend from earlier is over there. And she's like, my friend? Oh, him. Ha ha. Like, they're just kind of making fun of how he keeps following her around.
Yeah, but she said that to the other guy that she's interested in, though, so.
Yeah. The guy she's actually interested in.
She's playing it cool, for the guy that she's also trying to date.
I don't think she's trying to Jungwoo at all. Like,
I'm not saying that Solgi is going to go for Jungwoo, but I'm just saying if you're in Jungwoo's position, you don't have the God view like we do watching the show. It's not crazy just to be like, well, the only girl I'm interested in is Solgi, and if it doesn't work out, it's all right. That's how I feel. Like, I don't know. I feel like I would be on the show, Sarah, and you'd be like, oh, what a loser. Like, that guy's so lame.
Well, I just think that nobody takes, when they don't get picked and they spend the night in Inferno, they do not take advantage of that time. Like, he should be getting to know Sejong real well, and then they could go to Paris. Like, I just feel like if they would stop being so hyper-focused on this one person they've known for 2 days, they could make some moves elsewhere.
I think he's talked to Sejong, but it doesn't, in the limited time they have for the show, like, it's not worth putting in there, because it's not going to amount to anything. Whereas, like, just talking about how he's still interested in Solgi, like, creates his story arc or his tension for the show,
If he was trying to give a go at, like, getting to know Sejong or whatever, would he be talking so openly all the time about how he's sad about Solgi? I don't think so. Like, that's a weird move that's not going to make things work with anybody else. You know what I mean?
I think he's past the point with, like, he's already talked to Sejong, and I don't know.
It's not
I don't have an issue with it, Sarah. I want you to give these people some slack here.
Well, I want them to broaden their horizons a little bit is all.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay if they get hung up on one person.
It's just like, well, it's getting to the point where we're deadlocked, right? Like, people are so hyper-focused on people who are coupling up with other people that nothing else is going to happen in the show, Like,
well, that's why they add new people, but yeah.
Yeah, but everybody's still hyper-focused that they don't even pay attention to new people.
Oh, you think it's over for the new people already?
Well, no,
no
I
hope
think,
for them.
I mean, we'll get to there. I think Zoe comes to her senses and makes some moves, but we can get to that when we get to that.
Okay. Well, if I was on the show, I'd just do me and not worry about.
Fair enough.
All right. Day 4. Zoe is watching Yoonjae run on the beach. This is the morning of day 4.
Yes.
New people aren't back yet. And then they're going to have like a meeting with the 4 losers again. And this conversation is basically just laughing about Jungwoo's sad sack situation.
Yeah, like, even the other losers are making fun of him at this point. It's pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Sejong also has never been to paradise, but, like, I'm just gonna make fun of Jungwoo. That's how bad this is.
Yeah, it's because she's cool with it. Sejong gives him some advice. She's like, oh, when she comes back, when Solgi gets back, you just run over and carry her bag for her. And then he's like, what if the guy's carrying it for him? And she's like, just take it from him. Incredible advice.
And I was thinking, well, it's Jin Young. He's absolutely not gonna be carrying it.
That's true. Either way, it's weird though.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's oof.
Jungwoo was like, I'm not doing that.
He has some level of self-respect. Good job.
Are you not rooting for Jungwoo in the show, Sarah?
I don't think rooting for Jungwoo to get with Solgi is rooting for Jungwoo. Because she clearly is not into him at all. I want him to go be free and move on.
Okay. I don't think it's clear like, oh, Solgi hates Jungwoo, like it's just like, okay, Solgi has somebody she's really into.
Mm-hmm.
But if that guy wasn't there, like we said before, like maybe Solgi doesn't really into any of the guys besides Jin Young, but like would Solgi go to paradise with Jungwoo? Maybe. I think she might do that. Who else would she go to besides Jungwoo if this other guy wasn't here?
If this other guy wasn't here, she'd probably just see whoever she was vibing with on a particular day because nobody else seems to interest her that much.
Yeah.
But maybe the new guy would come in and sweep her off, the different new guy. Who knows?
Yeah. Also, Solgi isn't gonna like flat out reject Jungwoo, which she's going to do with Dongwoo later.
I
So
think she just needs to take some time to get there.
I think there's something there. It's just because we don't have the same. We have the God view of the show that Jungwoo doesn't have, and like we know how well that date went, and like they'll never even get close to describing how well that date went to each other because it's like it's way too personal for this show to talk about.
Yeah.
They get as far as admitting that Solgi went in the water this time. that's as spicy as they were willing to talk about that. I don't know. I'm ready for Jungwoo. Why not?
Okay.
Like if they had another situation where like, oh, you can't go with the same person, I would want Jungwoo to go with Solgi. Why not? Get his experience. It'll probably be fine, but not as good as the other date. It's all right.
If nothing else, then maybe it would get her out of his system and he could move on after like a bad date or something.
I don't think he would necessarily move on, but
you're right. He would hold on for dear life.
You know, like he would get the singles Inferno experience that he was hoping for, and that's fine. But that's all we're here for. All right, everybody gets back though, and they divide up into their tents for their.
Yes, because everybody has to talk about how the dates were.
Yeah. All right, I have notes from this.
Okay.
Want to hear my notes? Okay.
I do. Yes.
Apparently, Hanbin and Saun talked about anything and everything, and Saun was surprised by Hanbin. That's the information she gives up.
Yes. And Hanbin talks a lot about the different rides that were in the carnival, which may or may not be a bad sign about the date.
There was a moment here where I thought, like, the first time I watched it, I thought, like, Dongwoo was also explaining the rides in a way that, like, oh, he also might have gone to the carnival, but they didn't show it. But then when I watched it back, I think what he was saying was that, like, he was describing, like, oh, did you have the moment where, like, you have to grab each other's hands? Because the ride is so scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he was going for.
Which did not happen.
No.
According to Hanbin. He was like,
Hanbin
I was just holding on for my
dear life.
Yeah. Dongwoo is going to say, Nadine is really amazing. She's great.
Yeah, and that he learned something surprising about her.
Yeah, which makes the other guys a little curious, I think.
Is he trying to wingman for her now? Is that what this is?
That's what I kind of felt. Like, he was, like, doing her a solid. Dongwoo is a good guy. Come on. Give it to him right here. Hyping up Nadine. Like, he actually does think she's amazing, but, like, he's not into her romantically.
Yeah. Like, I do have to give him that. Like, this was a good move.
Dongwoo's fine. He's a good guy.
Yeah. It's not for Solgi.
No, that's fine. And then Nadine says that Dongwoo has a lot of confidence. That was a good way of putting it.
Yeah. She was happy that they spoke in English and, like, she was able to get everything out there. Yeah. So she had a good time.
Yeah. And the girls can tell that Solgi is very happy.
Just like they could tell she was into Jin Young the moment he, like, walked down the beach.
Huge reaction when they find out that she swam this time. But at the same time, Sarah, she didn't seem all that impressed with his job. Like, that was not a thing that mattered to her. So she almost, like, even indicates to the other girls, like, it wasn't really about anything he said that I liked. You know?
Yeah. But she is also sort of being a little, like, I mean, they're all to a certain extent are being vague, but she's just like, yeah, it was fine. Like, some things were surprising, some things weren't. Whatever. Don't ask more questions, please.
Well, Jin Young's going to be vague. Even almost to the point where he, like, the guys probably think, like, oh, he's not that excited about Solgi. Which is another reason why, you know, it's not crazy that Jungwoo still thinks he has a chance. Like, this Jin Young guy's not giving away anything here.
I don't know why that's his move. Like,
oh, he explains it later.
It's weird though. You'd think you'd want to be like, oh, we got along so well, none of you stand a chance. She is, you know, like, we're so well suited, you know, like.
Oh, that's not the cool way to do it though, Sarah. This guy's cool.
But is it effective? I think it might be more effective than just like, we had a time, it was interesting, whatever. I don't care. I'm too cool to care. Like,
I think I would be cool about it. I'd probably be a little bit. I'd be willing to say like, oh, she's interesting. I like her, but I wouldn't put on like this like super excited face that some of these people do. Like, you can just like tell they're like ecstatic, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I just value honesty over cool guy face. So
no, cool
that's
guy.
Just me.
He's later going to tell Solgi that he intentionally didn't act like super excited just because he wanted to avoid questions. He didn't want to answer the questions, is basically what it came down to. Also, but maybe he was worried that like the guys would tell her that he didn't look that excited, and then he was like felt like a need to cover up the fact that he like just didn't want to answer questions. I don't know.
Maybe.
There could be some sort of gameplay going on here. I'm not sure.
Yep.
But then they're gonna get released for free time, Sarah.
Not just free time. They get to, like, the announcement basically says you're going on unrestricted dates in Inferno.
Did they have restricted dates in Inferno prior to this? That's
I
what
think
I want to know.
just they never called them dates before, but
I feel like they just like weirdly encouraged them to talk to each other individually this time, whereas
yeah.
before they could have done the same thing, but the announcers didn't tell you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Young Jae bolts out of the tent. He's
This
like,
is-
I gotta go find someone, figure this shit out right now.
In this moment, this is like the very end of episode 5.
Mhm.
In this moment, Sarah, I went from like at one point I thought Yunjae was like the coolest guy on the
Uh-huh.
show.
Okay.
He is the most uncool guy on the show.
Wait,
after this,
uncool because he wants to go talk to the girl he's into?
the announcer's like, it's free time, go talk to people you want to talk to, and he just like instantly hops up like in front of all the guys, like walks briskly out of the tent, goes up to the girls, and like when he gets to the girls' tent and is like, oh, can I come in or can I talk to Saun? Like all the girls are like, damn, he got here so fast.
Well, last season when they did this, literally everybody in the guy's tent jumped up right away and basically fought their way out of the tent to go and talk to the girls. So
Yeah, but
like,
that's fine when everybody's doing it, but like I don't know. There was something about the like it seemed like extremely desperate to me.
well, he had spent all night being like, I made the wrong decision. She went with somebody else. What was I thinking? This is never going to work. You know, like he is all this shit pent up that he's got to go figure out right now. So I don't think he's worried about being cool.
I know why he's doing it, but to me, I guess, okay, if you're Saun here, you're probably like, you're not seeing it the same way we are.
Mhm.
Like you're not seeing the Inferno stuff. So like if you're Saun here, it does probably feel kind of cool that like a guy came back like so fast and wanted to talk to
Yeah.
you. Like it probably feels good. But like if she went back and watched this, I feel like she'd be like, damn, you were like desperate as fuck, dude. Like this is like not a cool move to the way
Yeah.
like, when you get to see it on the television, I don't think it's very cool.
But by that point, whatever will have happened, you know, like either they'll be together or not.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah, I guess. For me, I was just kind of out on Yunjae after this whole desperate kind of, I don't know, like he just had to be cool and later. And even like when they're walking on the beach later, I think Saoin's going to be like, you know, like I would have come talk to you and like you didn't have to come talk to me so quickly, you know? Like I wanted to talk to you
That's what
too.
she was saying. I think she was just like, yes, you wanted to talk to me. I also wanted to talk to you. I don't think
She definitely had a reaction to how fast he was going, but I'm indulging in the language a little bit.
okay.
But yeah, that's the cliffhanger on episode 5. This
Yep.
super desperate Yunjae.
I think we do also get a little glimpse at Zoe being sad again that Youngjae is there for Soon. She's just like pout face because that's all they show of her anymore is pout face.
That's her story arc right now.
Yep.
Hopefully it's gonna change though.
Yeah,
All right.
I hope so.
You ready for episode 6?
Oh yeah, let's go. More dates. Unofficial dates.
Yunjae and Saun, they're walking on the beach, getting to the sitting area to talk.
The first words out of his mouth are, "How are you making me jealous when I'm not the jealous type?"
This whole thing is just so weak to me, but yeah, he's trying to joke with her about being upset in a way to diffuse the fact that he's upset, but he's like actually upset. Like
Yeah.
he's joking about his like actual feelings that he's feeling.
Yes.
I don't know. It's super weird. It's weird because it come across as a joke. But then when they come and talk, it's like, oh no, you were serious about that joke you just made earlier.
Yeah.
Like I would feel like, oh wow, this is not heading in the direction that I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
It seems like Saoin was aware that Yunjae might be in a bad mood after she went to paradise with Hanbin. So I don't know what they talked about before, or if they did, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, this conversation to me tells me they did not have some conversation about staying back together.
Oh, you think
know?
they didn't?
I
don't
think
know.
they didn't. I think he would have approached this a little differently if like there would have been I know I said I was going to stay behind for you, or, you know, maybe you thought I was going to based on what we said. Like there's nothing to like, she's not being apologetic really about a misunderstanding.
Oh, I don't think like she broke a promise per se, but I feel like they had an additional conversation that may have like established their like real feelings for each other in a way
Mm,
that Yoonjae, with however he is in his dating strategy, felt like
yeah.
he would be uncomfortable dating somebody else with
Okay.
however their conversation went. But I don't think like Sallin like broke a promise
Yeah.
necessarily. It was just
Okay.
like a different interpretation of whatever conversation they had. But he actually now he's going to admit that he was in a bad mood.
Yes.
And then to me, this is weird, but Sallin is like weirdly to me not turned off by any of this conversation. Whereas like
Oh yeah.
I don't know, it could just be because I'm watching the God view of as a viewer of the
Hmm.
show. But yeah, I thought this went totally differently than how I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't see him basically like, I don't want to say lose it, but like the night before just be like, oh, this is never going to work between us because like
Yeah,
obviously I was thinking complete like all she sees is him coming and going like I yeah, I was kind of jealous you were with somebody else because I feel things for you or whatever. So like that's theoretically a nice thing to hear, you know?
yeah, it is, but it's a little. I don't know. I think it's a little too much for like they've been on one date.
Oh
They
yeah.
known each other for X amount of days, and like he's essentially just getting jealous because these dates aren't like they're not actual dates. I mean, they feel like they are because like you are choosing each other, but it's
Mhm.
you have to choose somebody for the show,
Yeah.
and it's like oh, might as well go on a date with somebody if I can, and it's not like a real life where like if somebody asked her out in real life and she had just had a good date with Youngjae, like she might have said no, but on this show,
Mhm.
it like she's gonna go on a date, It's like, but like
Yeah.
it seems like Youngjae's like is the jealous type, that's kind of like something that turns me off. I would say like that's why I'm surprised.
I think there's probably like there's a spectrum of jealousy. There's a like, oh well, I wish I could have been with. Like, I don't think he's presenting it as super intense, even though I
Not
guess he
not
did come
to
out of the gate
her,
going, "I'm just." But yeah, like not to her is the point. He's
yeah,
not presenting it to her as intense as
we've
we
seen it,
see it. Yeah.
yeah. The line, especially in the tent from the night or like after they left for
Mm-hmm.
Paradise, was like, oh, like he was like, I thought we were a match, but I guess we're not. Like he was
Yeah.
so, like almost to the point that he seemed like really angry about it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
like if being on a show in this like ridiculous situation is gonna make you get this triggered, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's not a good sign about
Oh yeah.
real life scenarios.
But she
But
has
yeah,
no information on
she does
that.
not
So
have this.
she's
Yeah,
like, whatever. And she gives him a cute line about how her body may have been in paradise, but her heart was back in Inferno.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he eats that shit up.
He goes from like so worried to instantly like happy and like but also
Hmm.
like a little surprised, I think.
Yeah.
She also liked how intense he was during tug of war, Sarah. She got him to say like, oh, I would have picked you for the special meal had I won the tug of war.
Ooh, but he does say it in a cool way where she's just like, who would you have picked? And he's like, yeah, I was really going to have to think about it. It was going to be hard to pick my second person because you were obviously going to be the first one. Like he like leads in with that, ooh, maybe it wasn't going to be you, but
I want to know who he would have picked second. Because I don't think it would have been Soe.
oh, I hope not. That would have been mean. That would have been like really fucking mean, honestly.
I mean, but he has to choose somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, pick Sejon. I think she's fine being a third wheel and just like
Is
enjoying coffee like Jungwoo did the other day.
Salon going to be more jealous of Soe or Sejun? Potentially.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know what the strategy is when you're only interested in one person, but you have to pick two. I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah, that is a weird. I mean, I might just be like, I pick this person and I'm done. That's it. We're
Draw
good.
straws. No, the show's gonna make you pick, sir. That's the show.
I guess. I don't know. You just pick
Uh,
somebody else and ignore them for the whole meal, I guess.
all right, but then Yeonjae has some really uncool lines, in my opinion.
Oh.
Did you catch on these? He said, "I'm good at protecting what's mine.
Oh yes. God, these were gross.
I've never had anything taken from me." Yeah, this guy's my least favorite. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm way out on Young Jay by the end of this conversation.
this whole like explosion from this girl going on like essentially a non-romantic date
Hmm.
with somebody.
Yep. And like this indication of like possessiveness and like women as things you can own. I'm like, gross. No, thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But someone seems in it. Like they're
Yeah,
having a good
I'm fine
time.
if these two just couple up and we don't have to talk about them the rest of the show at this point.
Unfortunately, other people on the island are going to make us talk about them.
At least for the rest of this. Maybe in the future episodes we won't have to.
Maybe.
I think we will, though, based on the preview.
Yup. Because while they are off talking together, Zoe and Hanbin are just outside walking in the general direction of them, I guess, and then end up going, I guess we're going to the same place, so let's just hang out together.
Well, they hang out really far away from them, but they're at like the other end of the beach, you know?
Right, but they're like,
not close.
They didn't come out and go, hey, I want to talk to you. Let's go. They were just going to mope around the beach, kind of seeing where the people they were interested in went and went, oh, okay, they're busy together. I guess we'll wait for them here.
But they waited for them like, hundreds of meters away.
Oh,
they're not
yeah.
like, okay, the way you said it made it sound like they were just like hovering like 10 feet away, waiting for them to be done their conversation.
Trying to make clear that they are only together because they are both waiting for other people and they are just sad.
But Hanbin is actually going to tell Zoe that he thinks Yunjae is only going after Saoun. This is like the first kind of like...
I love this.
Information. Yeah, we don't get a lot of this on this show. But Hanbin almost only says this because of what Yunjae just did with like rushing out of the tent. Like it's not like... It wasn't like... didn't seem like he like talked to him specifically about anything. It was just like, oh, I saw this tent thing, which he thought was crazy. And then he was like, he must only be interested in Saoun if he did that.
Also, when they came back from Paradise, like the first time, Youngjae was all like, oh man, we talked for hours and it was great. Like he was not hiding that he had a really good time with her. So I think that plus the let me quick dash out of the tent is probably enough to make a reasonable assumption.
Yeah. Hanbin has more information than Zoe does, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that he was just like, hey, he's not just talking to other people. It's just he's into her. That's it. Like, be real about the situation.
Yeah. But then Hanbin also says, like, I thought he should be most curious about you in a way that, like, makes it seem like he should be admitting that he thinks Zoe is interesting.
Oh, I took this whole scene as them trying to coach each other to go for the other one. So to break up that couple, like he's almost pushing her to be like, I mean, but you're interested, like, he should be into you. You should be with him. So that way he can go with Zoen. And then later she's like, oh, you shouldn't give her time to think and make up her mind about stuff. You should go talk to her now. So that way he'll go talk to Zoen and, like, break her apart from Youngjae. Like, I just feel like they're both trying to use each other here.
Yeah. They're just kind of talking to each other because they're in the same situation. But I don't know, like, the comment about, oh, he should be most curious about you made it almost seem like Hanbin is curious about Zoe. Or he's slamming Saoun, saying she's not interesting, but he's the one who wants to date Saoun.
Oh,
so it's like it's a bit of a weird. I think it's like, okay, it's not what the translation meant, kind of thing.
I would love for these two to just turn to each other and like just get to know each other and see if that works out. That would remove some deadlocking in this.
I mean, if you don't have chemistry, you don't have chemistry, Sarah.
I don't know that they've really talked too much outside of this, but I don't know.
Oh, I feel like we missed so many conversations.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
show.
Well, yeah.
Like the Jungwoo Nadine conversation that we're not going to see. There's got to be, tens and maybe hundreds of conversations we're not seeing. But then, oh no, Sarah, your boy here. Zoe's going to ask him outright, like, oh, if she like tells you she's not interested, what will you do then?
And he's like, I'll just try harder. And I'm
yes,
like, God
exactly.
damn it, Hanbin. Stop it. But then he follows it up with something that's almost reasonable, where he's like, if we hadn't gone to Paradise, I wouldn't. But, like, we learned a lot about each other, and, maybe I was the one to like her first, but she showed an interest in me. So, according to him, their date didn't super end in the, like, friendship zone. So.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he thinks that, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, like, he feels like he made progress in Paradise, and he wants to try a bit more. And he says he would regret it if he didn't. And that's the kind of what I'm trying to argue with you. It's like, if you're going to regret not pursuing somebody you're interested in on the show, like, just do it and be okay with it not working out, Like, it's not a big deal.
It's just, for me, there's a difference between it not working out and it making somebody else uncomfortable. And you just have to, not go across that line, and then it'll be okay. But also, like, I'm also sick of everything being deadlocked right now and people being interested in people who aren't interested in them.
But I'll say on record that in both seasons of the show, I don't think anybody's, like, really felt like they've been made uncomfortable by somebody else. Only other than the sense that like what we're gonna get from Solgi here, where like she's gonna be kind of forced to just like flat out reject Dongwoo in a way that she's uncomfortable with doing it, but like that's that's the process of dating, like it's not a real like, hey, you're creeping me out, like kind of uncomfortable. It's like I just need to be honest with you, uncomfortable. Yeah, but this is a great though when when Yunjae and Saoun like get up and they start walking back to the tent. So he's in like a seat where she can like see them coming, and she's like, Hanbin, they're coming.
And they're like plotting when to get up and like try to talk to them, and it's so awkward.
This scene came across like it reminded me of like the scene in Star Wars where they're like driving in the trench and they're gonna shoot the torpedoes, and she's like 200 meters, 100 meters, they're getting closer, almost there. It was so ridiculous, the updates she was giving.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then they kind of just walk by and they're heading towards the tents and they wave at them awkwardly.
Oh, it's such an awkward wave.
And it looks like they're heading back to the tent, like they're going to separate back to the tent, but then they just like grab a seat by the tents and start talking more.
Yeah, and even Hanbin and Zoe are like, okay, when they get to the top of the hill, they're going to separate to go to the tents. That's when we go.
They got that game plan.
they get up at that point, and then they're like, oh no, they sat down. What the fuck do we do? No. So they just go back to a tent together.
They awkwardly keep walking like they had planned to go back to the tent all along.
Oh, it is so sad. It's so awkward.
Good. So good. This is what we're here for.
But then when they get in the tent, like, Hanbin's like, I just thought of something. When we saw them, they looked really happy together. Yes. And Zoe's just like, yeah, like he's mature, she's mature. I think they'll work really well together. And I'm like, does this mean you're finally giving up, guys?
Maybe,
finally giving up?
Maybe they'll give up. This is, here we go. Sarah might get what she wants. Here we go.
Probably not.
Jungwoo and Solgi are going to talk at the cabana.
Yes, where they talked on their first day, he says. Yeah.
And then we're going to get some interesting, I wrote math, but...
Okay.
Solgi has like a headband, and so when she has the headband makes her look cute. But when she has no headband on, she's cute and sexy.
Yep. That I don't know how that works, but okay.
Yeah, these like super generic adjectives to describe people make me so confused. But yep, she got another sexy and cute from another guy. Jung was under the impression that Solgi wants to talk to all the guys because she like went with 2 different guys.
Well, at least this is like his hope, because if she's still on the prowl, then he's got hope.
But he's like saying this to her in like a way he's like, I'm wondering if I'm the next guy you want to talk to.
But he says something like, who haven't you talked to? Youngjae? Do you want to talk to him?
Oh, yeah, because he's like, yeah, that Youngjae guy's better than me. You probably want to talk to him first.
And she's just like, oh, yeah, I haven't talked to him at all. Is there somebody you want to talk to? And he's like, I'm already talking to her.
Yes. See? This is good.
And she says, thank you. When you say something like, I'm interested in you, I like you, you're the person I wanted to talk to, and they say thanks, usually not a good sign.
Yeah, but this is Solgi, though, so like, I feel like she smiles and like interacts with him in a way that is positive.
Yeah.
And even like, if we're comparing this conversation to other conversations she's had, like, it's not that much different. Other than that, like, she's not initiating anything. So it's closer to, like, her conversation with Dongwoo. But from Jungwoo's perspective, if he's, like, watched Solgi on Inferno, I don't think he can really fully gauge that, like, the way her conversation, like, his conversations with her are, like, actually worse than other people's conversations with her. I don't know. I don't really blame Jungwoo here. It's, like, it's tough.
And we did learn that he has, like, 0 situational awareness on this island. Like, he has no idea who's into who. But, like, if he had that in tune, he might see her hanging out with Jin Young and see that it's a little different than when she's with him. And he might be able to pick up on something there.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
He does not have that skill.
We only saw Jin Young, like, Inferno, we only saw Jin Young and Solgi talk during the special date, during the special meal. So he wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah, at this point, he doesn't have anything, but I think after the rest of this episode, there might be, like, if he had any sort of was in tune with it at all,
I see,
he might be able to pick up on it. But I don't think he is, so.
But even if he was paying, like, super close attention, the way it's going to go down is, like, Dongwoo is going to talk to Seolgi before he gets a chance. And then Jin Young's going to talk to Seolgi before Jungwoo gets a chance. So from Jungwoo's perspective, it's just like, oh, the two guys that went to paradise with her wanted to talk to her. You know, and I think in both cases, like the guy initiated the conversation. So if he saw that, it would be like, okay,
yes,
she's not the one initiating the conversation. I don't know. I think Jungwoo, if he really has feelings about her, now I think his feelings are also just like Seolgi is hot. You know,
yes,
you know, like everybody that's interested in Seolgi is like, I'm pretty sure they're just going off of her looks.
I think that's true of like most couples here, at least. Like
in the beginning, it is. No, I mean, you mean like successful couples, or like I don't know if Dongwoo necessarily went with Nadine because of her looks alone. You know,
I guess, but
Yeah.
like
I think there are
Hanbin wanting to go to paradise with Soin because she's hot, right? Like Zoe wanting to go with Youngjae because he smells good. Like
maybe, yeah. I don't know. We didn't get a lot of Hangbin in the edit, so I actually don't know what he's into.
all I'm saying is that the hotness is how it starts with everybody, right? Until you like actually get to go on that date and get to know each other better. Because most of these like Inferno dates are not a whole lot because somebody comes up to interrupt you half the time, or somebody goes, "Oh wait, we should go do that instead." You know, like
Maybe I
you
think
don't
they're
have
more
that
than what we're
dedicated.
seeing.
Well, probably, but like it's still not the same as like having a full evening to talk to someone, you know. And everybody's so uptight talking on Inferno that even though like they could be asking about hobbies or family or any fucking thing other than jobs and age, but they're like really playing everything close to the chest when they don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, you're kind of making a case for why Jungwoo should try to go to paradise.
I'm just saying we
It's
shouldn't be
okay.
too hard on anybody here who's like, I want to go to paradise with this person because they're
okay.
hot. That's all I'm saying.
I wasn't being hard. I was just pointing it out.
Okay.
But Jungwoo actually says to her like, "Oh, I don't usually approach girls first." And Seolgi I would say Seolgi definitely has a positive reaction to this comment. Like
Oh, really?
she seems very flattered by this.
Oh,
I think.
I took it as she was just very shocked.
I think she likes the attention that Jungwoo's
Okay.
giving him. I don't know.
Okay.
But then the vibe she gives is like, yeah, like, oh, I'm still confused or I need to think more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't what she's gonna say to Dongwoo, so I don't know. I feel like there's something here. It's just like what she's feeling for Jin Young right now is just so intense that she, you know, there's no comparison really. But she doesn't want to say like, oh, I'm not interested in you because she really hasn't given him a chance. And
Right.
she knows that too. Yeah.
I think this I have to sort my thoughts out thing is I have to go talk to Jin Young and make sure we're on the same page before I can properly reject
that's
you
what
and
you
feel
think?
safe. Like that's what I think this is.
Do you think we're gonna get I don't think we're gonna get a Jungwoo like full rejection in this season. Do you think so? We might get a sad Seolgi when Jin Young does some other things though.
Yeah.
Based on I think Jin Young's gonna go to paradise with somebody else, and we'll see how Seolgi reacts to that.
Yeah. I think given previews we've seen that's likely.
And then Jungwoo's gonna swoop in. Here we go.
Oh, solid maybe. But I think like no, like it's very rare on this show to get a full actual rejection. Everybody is always sort of playing it safe or not allowed to say whatever. Like this thing that happens with Dongwoo later is
Not the
like
norm.
one of the most straightforward conversations that happens on this show, and it's low-key amazing for that reason.
Yeah. I feel like you should just be allowed to reject people like bluntly, like without breaking the quote unquote rules of the show. But there is something like funny and interesting about not being able to be like, I only like you. like that's at least early on. I'm kind of past at this point in the show, I don't really care anymore. But early on it is kind of funny when they can't say I like you. But yeah.
But they do kind of come up with a code for it, which is I'm curious about you. So I mean, they get around it.
Yeah. All right. Now Nadine's gonna invite Jin Young to talk.
Yeah.
And she like crawls over to him in the like they're like hanging out in a group in the tent, and she like crawls over and it's like, hey, do you want to talk? I don't know. I thought it was like a cute way to do it.
I thought it was definitely cute.
And we're gonna find out later that like this is the way that Jin Young would ask a girl to talk. Like you just be like, hey, do you want to talk? Whereas like other people have come up with like codes to like be like,
yes.
oh, you need to. Do you want to help me with something in the something with and then we'll totally come back to where we are now after that. But then they just go to talk. All right, how would you describe this went down? They decide that they need to get glasses first because it's gotten really sunny out, And then
Yes.
Solgi is gonna kind of follow Jin Young because she notices he's doing something. And is she like jealous? What do you think of the situation?
Maybe. Like she's I think coming back from somewhere else and she just sees him on the way to like I guess it's the changing hut or whatever. And he says, "Hey," and that everybody was talking in the tent and now he's going to talk to Nadine and basically he doesn't say anything else. And she like follows him a little bit and then says, "Okay."
Yeah,
And
he's
it's
like super casual about being like, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to Nadine right now." Like, not like, and he doesn't like say it in any comforting way at all.
mm-hmm.
In like a cool guy way, though. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he meant anything at all. He just
Oh
said
yeah.
the facts. He just said the facts of what was about to happen.
100%. Yeah.
But I think Solgi has a little bit of like a reaction to this.
Yeah. I would say yeah, especially when like once this is all over and Nadine goes back into the tent where Solgi is, she's like, "Hey, did you have a good time?" And she does the smile not all the way up to her eyes and then makes a sad face. Yeah.
Nadine looked happy.
Yeah.
But even before they get to, they're going to the ice water station. Even before they get there,
Mm-hmm.
they're like walking over. Jinhyun already seems more like naturally open with Nadine
Mm.
than he did with Solgi.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's like feeling less shy, or maybe he doesn't see Nadine as like a romantic interest, so he's like more friendly up front.
Oh,
I don't know.
maybe.
I don't know.
It's hard
Or
to tell.
maybe I don't know if in general he's just feeling more comfortable, or maybe he's just feeling, confident after his date with Solgi. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. There's something like he feels different already, even
Mm-hmm.
after, less than
And he
24
is
hours or whatever it's been.
impossible to know anything about. So we don't know what it is.
Jin Young is also gonna try to speak English a little bit too.
Yes. But like he's not anywhere near as good as Dongwoo is. So like
They call it customized English. Like it seems like they're kind of like using in between them. They're using like English Korean words combined. It seems at time. I
mm-hmm.
couldn't fully
Yeah.
pick up on it, but they kind of have a cute back and forth where like somebody will say something in their language that the other person doesn't understand, and then they have like to come up with the word that they both understand together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It
think
is
it's like a
cute.
cute back and forth that they have.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "What kind of relationship are you looking for?" Already asking deeper questions with Nadine
Yeah.
than he did with Solgi. And then Nadine like doesn't understand the word like looking for, I guess, or like
mm-hmm.
whatever the phrasing of it is. So they come to they like, what do you want in a relationship?
Yeah.
That's like the kind of example that comes up. And Nadine doesn't like people who are clingy.
Yes.
She wants something casual and hot,
Casual but hot.
fun and hardworking,
Yeah.
and somebody who's passionate about his work.
And he more or less, I mean, except for without saying casual but hot, he kind of wants a similar thing. Like they both want to be able to live their own lives, but also like have a relationship with someone who is hardworking and passionate about their own work, so they can have their separate interests and spend some time alone, but then come together for the hot part later, I guess.
Yeah. One of the things he says, he hates recklessly extravagant people. I don't know what that
Ooh,
means.
your subtitles are different from mine.
What
In
are you
mine, it said
watching on?
undisciplined.
Oh.
Doesn't like undisciplined people, which made sense to me given his military background. He likes people who are focused and like have their shit together.
I don't know if we talked about this on Solgi when we found out Solgi's profession.
Mm-hmm.
But do you remember getting a sense of like, okay, she's a piano major, but like she maybe like kind of didn't do well in her last semester, and
Oh,
did you get that vibe? I feel like I got that vibe, but I don't have like
well, she
the
did
text
like.
from it.
I think Dongwoo asked if she was supposed to be like having finals right now or something, and she's like, "Whatever, this is better than finals,"
As if like she already knew she failed and she was gonna have to try again
or something.
Yeah.
And then she said she had like a love-hate relationship with the piano, so like I
Yeah,
don't
like-
know what she's planning to do, but
Yeah.
who knows?
I don't know. It made me think of like, the way that Jin Young was describing people he was into. I was like, I don't know if Solgi fits this description that you're describing.
But they wouldn't know that because they didn't talk about anything this deep, at least that we saw.
And he wants a girl who's focused on something because he likes his alone time. And then Dean's like, "Oh, I like my alone time too, believe me."
Yes, so alone that will be in different countries. Yes.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, maybe will work for him. Who knows?
Yeah. Also, this is great. Jin Young says, "I feel like you must work in something very professional." And then Nadine's like, "Well, if you're curious, if you know what I'm saying. And she actually, okay, she didn't say word for word, if you know what I'm saying, but she basically said, if you know what I'm saying, like this, I'm not actually throwing this one in. This is actually what happened.
And I feel like she like lifted up her sunglasses a little bit to
Yeah,
make it look
yeah.
like she was raising her eyebrows to be like, come on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was like, you know what I'm saying? And Jin Young laughs from this. I feel like she
Yes.
got Jin Young to laugh a lot faster than Solgi did.
It was pretty good.
These two, I am rooting for this couple, Sarah.
Yeah, I would like this to happen.
This couple more than any other couple on the show, I am rooting for. I want to see this happen.
And she makes it real clear, like she's like, I am curious about you. I'm not really curious about anyone else. So like,
she's very clear, yeah.
She's very clear. He does not give anything close to an indication of that from his end. So I don't know that I think it's gonna happen, but maybe.
Yeah, I would say, based on the history of these shows, it's probably not going to happen, but hopefully the show will like force it. That's why I go back and forth. Like, I don't actually mind that much that like they kind of forced to go to paradise with people that they it's not that they don't want to go to paradise with them. It's like they've kind of picked somebody and it's like awkward to go with paradise with somebody else kind of thing. And I don't know. I don't really mind it. Nadine says, maybe I should study Korean more. And he actually says, no, it's attractive. Like, as I don't know if he's just being nice, but he seemed he did enjoy the playfulness of having to communicate with the different languages.
Which is probably fun right now, but like long term, that's got to be a pain in the ass, Like,
I don't know. I don't think Nadine is like that bad at Korean that she's really struggling. It's just like I think at one point she wants to use the word confidence to describe Dongwoo, she like has to ask them what word is best for that word kind of thing. But like she's good enough at Korean that like if she lived in Korea for like a year, I feel like she'd be good, like majorly fluent. She'd like that's how good at Korean she is. And Nadine admits that she's also curious about his job and she's only curious about him, like you said.
Oh, she does call him oddly cute, and it seems to be like she's like, the way I worded that was not exactly what I meant, but he thinks it's funny.
Do you think she didn't mean it that way? Like, that's just like the word she knew how to use was cute? And
well, she did say like, oh, my wording on that was not, or what was up with that wording I used, but they laugh about it. So
my subtitles also said slightly cool, which didn't seem right since this guy's pretty cool.
Oh no, he did cool? It's mine
was
oddly cute.
Mine said slightly cool and cute.
Oh, okay. I don't know why her subtitles are different, but
I don't know why
she definitely did say the word for strange, which I cannot conjure at this moment because my Korean is pretty bad recently, but I heard her say the word for strange.
Okay. I feel like she might think he's cuter because like this conversation is so different than the conversation that he had with Solgi, where like he's like laughing more regularly and smiling more.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually, in this conversation alone, is coming up way cuter than he has the rest of the time that we've seen so far.
And he says this is like the quickest somebody has called him cute from like the time of meeting him. So like maybe that means like he's more comfortable with her or has opened up to her quicker. But maybe not. I don't know. There's an indication that this might be a thing that could work.
Yeah. And then here's another music thing that happens. Nadine comes back and she's looking happy. And then she's just kind of like, like generic comments to each other. But then they show like they cut to Dongwoo and then to Solgi, and they both seem like jealous. And then they have like the most dramatic, like almost like murder mystery kind of music. This music choice is crazy.
It is so weird.
It's so they're doing some goofy things here with the music this season.
But I think it's here where we start to get that like Solgi isn't feeling well. Like Dong was trying to talk to her and he's saying she looks tired, and like for once it like maybe isn't an excuse where she's just like, oh, I'm tired from the heat.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, no, but like she's just like, what do you do if you have heat stroke? And she is like, just like, she looks like she's physically not having the best time right now. Yeah, I think this is an accurate thing she's saying, not just a blow off.
Okay, I think it's possible. I have a different theory when we get to it, but
okay.
Next, what I have is that Zoe is crying again.
Yeah,
and I think this is more. I think like. She's going to have a confessional where she kind of like communicates this, but basically I think she's like come to the realization that Young Jae is like set on Saoun.
Yeah.
And that she calls it things are heading towards rejection. That's how she puts it.
Yeah.
And and then this is kind of wild. She says, my heart did break, And then, but she like in a confessional, but she like says this with like a smile on her face in like a really awkward way.
Oh yeah, because she constantly is trying to put on a brave face, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's sad.
And then Sarah, this is she's not on this show just the clout or whatever you think people are on the show for. Like even Yunjae, like they're like having these like serious emotional things that are happening to them because
Okay, well,
they believe they can come to the show and find love. Like this is not a like stunt
I
that
have
they're
a
pulling off.
different explanation for Young Jae's situation. Given his weird jealousy and like possessiveness, I feel like this is his reaction is like he's never been rejected before, and there is some sort of insult in this thing that he thought was his being taken away. So I don't necessarily believe that that's all about him finding love or whatever. But like Zoe, I would be surprised if we find out she is any older than like 21. Like, okay, so I'll believe she came on the show to find love because she's
really?
very
Okay.
young and naive. But like, I find it really hard to believe that most of these people actually think they're going to find somebody to be with on this show.
I don't think this show would be good if they cast it the way you're saying they cast it on the show. Like, none of these reality love shows would be good if they didn't get people that think that they can find love on these shows. Like, that's the whole point.
Okay.
And every time you see people crying, like Jungwoo is like visually upset on the show when things aren't working out for him. You know,
I guess
they're
that's
not
true.
they're not here to just like.
I mean,
I don't know.
even regardless of the reason you come on the show, I do think that it is this weird like microcosm environment that does fuck with your head. So like, I don't think that Jungwoo is faking his sadness, but I could believe that he came on this show going, yeah, I'll get, I'm a model or whatever, and I'll get more Instagram followers for being here, sure. And then goes, oh, that hot lady's so hot, I need to be with her. And then his brain gets a little broken because he spends 3 days just staring at this hot lady who is picking everyone but him. But I don't know. I mean, I am a cynic at heart, and I find it hard to believe that like, do you think Dongwoo came to the show and thought like, yes, I'm gonna find love? I mean, maybe, but it just okay.
He thought he did. Then he got rejected, and then this man is devastated and doesn't know what to say.
Or did he think maybe my plastic surgery office will get more business if people see me on television and think I'm hot?
Okay, you can only do yourself harm being on these shows. You're not going to do yourself good, you know.
Okay, there's a big risk of being a complete dumbass on TV, yes.
People that go on these shows, like, they don't have a problem with being on TV, and it might be like a side bonus, but like they're not casting people who are just like going to be actors on these things. Like they're casting people who personalities are good for the show and that they will actually participate in this is a show about love, and they will have real feelings. Like there are enough people in the world that feel that way that will go on these shows.
Okay. I don't fully believe it, but okay, sure.
All right, it's party time in the ocean. That's what I have next.
Oh yeah, all the guys, Seyun, Nadine, and Sejong, are all in the ocean. Presumably, Zoe is crying somewhere, and Solgi is nowhere to be found. Presumably because of the not feeling well from the sun, or maybe I guess she didn't want to be in her swimsuit in the water with everybody. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I think more than anything, like the most likely scenario, if she is like kind of fainting illness here, is that like she just there's no way she's comfortable going into the water with everybody in her swimsuit, you know? There's no way.
But I guess she'd have to know that that was the plan for later on, which I guess she could have, because she like plants the seed of I'm not feeling well pretty early.
Yeah, I think she kind of maybe doubled down on something she had already said for a different reason potentially, and then was like, I guess I got to keep going with this because a lot of things are happening that I don't want to be part of.
I think she didn't feel well because the sun is hot, but okay.
It's fine either way. I just thought it's unlikely that we were going to see Solgi in the water, regardless of how she was feeling.
That's true.
Is what I would say.
But yeah, they're all splashing about. They've got some big, like, inflatable things, and they seem to be having a good time.
And then Jin Young is eventually going to notice that Solgi's not there, but I guess Jungwoo noticed first or just acted upon it, and he's going to go, like, give her vitamins and a face mask.
Not just that, but he's like waiting outside the like changing area or whatever for a long time for her to come out.
They make it seem like a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's sweet. He tries to take care of her, and she does. There's a little confessional where she talks about, how he was super attentive, and that was nice. So it was received
Yeah,
well.
yeah, exactly. I don't think there's any like animosity from
Yeah,
from Solgi with like getting attention from Jungwoo. He's like, this would be nice if I didn't have this other option. Is that the
yeah,
vibe I get? Yeah. And then we finally get a little bit about Seyeon. She's like feeling a little lost, and she thinks that Jin Young is interested in Nadine.
because they had some chemistry the day before, and so she thought that maybe this could be a thing going forward. But Nadine went off to talk with him, and she is worried that she is not next in line.
Yeah. That's a good sign for Nadine. I feel like Seyeon has been on point with her perceptions of the season. But then this conversation that we're learning about is going to be interrupted because it's time for new people to arrive. Let's go.
Yes, all the singles must immediately get to the fire. And yes, our first person we get is a man.
Man in a suit, Sarah.
Seems a little out of place, and it's...
Wait, you weren't excited about this man in a suit?
Okay, it's a suit, but it's like a suit with a t-shirt,
Yeah, the better kind of suit.
No,
Oh
The
my
best kind
God.
of suit is a three-piece suit where you've got the vest and the tie and the extra layers,
God.
but you can't wear that to the beach, so.
No way, kill me. Yeah, I wrote I'm not a suit person, but this guy is doing way better than the rest of the guys that I talked about when they first
really?
arrived, in my opinion. All their clothes were like baggy and like don't
Uh-huh.
show off anything that they have underneath. I feel like this guy at least looked sharp,
Yeah, his clothes fit well, but I also think he looks out of place in his suit on the beach, but it's
Okay.
whatever.
Dang, I thought you were going to be hype about this.
No.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay.
It was
Well,
it was fine.
the host think he looks tall and maybe he's an actor.
I think
That was their
everybody
first-
think, like, while he's walking down, I swear like 7 people are like, "Oh, he's tall."
Oh, really? Okay. Nadine seems a little excited. She's clapping
Mm-hmm.
by herself before he actually gets there. And I just noted that Zoe still looks like super uninterested because I feel like she's still like too sad to even care
Yep.
about this new guy
Mhm.
coming. She's almost like not even paying attention, which is
Yeah.
sad to see. Who is this, Sarah? That's
This
coming.
is Kim Sejun, and he thinks his attractive features are kindness and making other people feel comfortable. And
Yeah.
he's cute in his own way.
My subtitle said sneaky cute.
Sneaky cute. That's a fun phrase.
That's a fun way of putting it, yeah. And he likes to play tennis.
Oh, now do you believe he's good at tennis? Because you
I
didn't
don't know how
believe whoever.
good he, I don't know how good he is. Even he says like he doesn't say like he's great or anything, but
Mhm.
his shots look like he actually knows how to play tennis. Like he's hitting a ball on a court and it looks
Mhm.
somewhat proper
Yes.
compared to Seiyan. I don't know if they talk about how they both play tennis. I don't know if it's really going to be a bonding thing between them. Although they put it in the end of the show, so maybe it will be something. I don't
Solid
know.
maybe.
But he's looking for a woman who is nice and bubbly. Uh-oh, Saoun.
It's coming.
And then
Oh, he says even though he's joining late, if there's a woman he's interested in, he's going to go out of his way to win her over regardless of the circumstances. So he's here to cause a ruckus.
overwhelm them with his charm is what I wrote. Yeah, I like that he's aware that he's like joining midway through. Like even in these
Mhm.
confessionals, he knows that he's joining midway through. It wasn't like
Yes.
they filmed everybody and then he found out late. I don't know. He
Oh,
seems to
yeah.
have like somewhat of a game plan, knowing that he's halfway through the show already.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like last season, I don't know. I feel like I didn't get the same vibe from the girls. The 2 girls joined like super
Yeah.
late last year. It might have been later than this also, and it made it like really impossible for them.
Yeah, the timing was bad.
If this is going to be the final 12,
I'm
assuming it is.
Yeah. They can't fit anyone else at that table.
I think they're in early enough that something can happen.
Yeah, I agree.
But he comes and sits down, and then Dongwoo's the man. When people arrive here, Dongwoo says like directly to Sejun that he looks exotic and very cool. Is what I had, because he has a low voice. Is what he
Mm,
said.
okay. I don't know what about that makes
It's-
him exotic.
I think
but okay.
Dongwoo's feeling Sejun a little bit. I think that's what I think. He was all about him when he showed up.
Hey, I would love it if this show took a complete left turn like that. It would be great.
Then here's the new girl.
This is Im Min Soo.
Yes. And before she gets there, though, like, she's going to get, like, the standing ovation, like Sowen got.
Yes.
Everybody's way more comfortable now. Although I will say I don't think it was as strong of a standing ovation as Sowen. Maybe they were standing ovation because it was like, oh, the last person, finally. Like, maybe that was what it was. Tell us about Min-soo.
Min-soo says she is like an iron fist in a velvet glove.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean? That's what my subtitle said.
I was intimidated and intrigued, I have to say.
Probably not a good dating profile thing, but it's different, that's for sure. I have no idea what it means.
She says it means that she's got that people think, at least, that she has a soft personality and she likes to laugh a lot. But if there's something that she like needs to do, she deals with it head on.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
If you know what I'm saying.
That's what you saved your first I know what I'm saying for.
I didn't mean to. It just happened.
It just happened right now? Oh, okay. I wrote it down differently because I wrote one here too. She said she's extremely proactive about things she wants to do, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, same thing.
I guess it's the same line. I don't remember the thing about. I think our subtitles were a little different, maybe.
Yeah. She says she likes a really specific type of guy, but she does not tell us what that type of guy is, so who knows. But if she meets someone like that, she puts her blinders on and goes all in.
And she's also aware that she's joining midway, and she says, like, she's probably going to have to hurry. Like, she's going to have to be shaking and moving. She can't just wait for guys to come to her. Mm-hmm. Which we'll see if that happens. She is not giving off that vibe from this first night that she's going to be there.
Oh, but, yeah. It's like, I don't feel like I notice much of her through the rest of this episode, honestly. Yeah.
And then when she gets to the couch, Dongwoo is like, oh, how was your journey? Which I guess is something that somebody's asked before. But all she does is mention the stairs walking from the sandhill down to the campfire. Yeah.
We were worried she was going to fall.
They always talk about the stairs on this show, Sarah, like to the point where I'm actually curious about what is interesting about these stairs. They're always like, I don't know if this is just like something you say if you're not interested in the question or what it is. But like,
no, I think they are rough outdoor stairs and these women are wearing heels and it is suboptimal terrain for them.
But even the guy in the suit was like, oh yeah, they're weirdly spaced. I almost fell to like Zoe or something later.
Yeah, they got to fix these stairs.
I think they don't need to be talking about the stairs on this show. Could probably edit it out. All right, it's time to make dinner though.
Yes.
Kimchi and tuna and rice and vegetables. What hell is this?
It's fine because they have Hanmin who's going to take charge and make kimchi stew and fried rice.
They'd be fine without Hanmin.
Yeah. No, but he takes charge. He's not spending any time getting to know new people. He's just like, all right, I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. Let's go. He is used to being in charge of a kitchen.
Yeah. All right. This dinner making thing, usually these dinner making things are kind of like, they can be good, but mostly whatever compared to some other things on the show. This dinner though, Sarah, I didn't even realize the first time I watched it through, but like a lot of spicy shit happens at this dinner.
And because there are so many people there, it's a little bit chaotic and it can be like easy to slip through.
A couple times like I didn't know who was talking, but then I had to like go back and figure it out. And I was like, oh, okay, no wait, this is a spicy interaction. Okay. I'm just gonna go through these. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Zoe is very nice to Sejun, the new guy.
Yes.
I couldn't really tell if it was flirting at first. I feel like it is, but
her kind of flirting is so low-key and small that it's hard to pick up on.
Is it also like rebound flirting? I don't know.
Oh, it's 100%, but I definitely support her in this. Good job, Zoe. Let's move on. Let's try something new.
You might as well. I think this is similar to how she was flirting with Yoonjae, so I think she actually could be interested in him. She like helps get his jacket, although it's like a little bit awkward. She's like, "Hey, follow me,"
and then he doesn't.
But I think he just like didn't hear her properly.
Yeah, but that gives her a chance to come back and like talk to him again and be like, "Oh, I put your jacket over there, so don't worry about it."
And then she's like nice to both the new people and is like asking their names. I think it's flirting. I want to believe it's flirting.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe she's not good at it, but
she's doing her best.
Is she too good at it? I don't know. Like I actually think Zoe is like a little more upfront than anybody is, and like at least with how she was with like Yoonjae and now a little bit with this guy.
Guess.
I don't know, but I guess she's bad at it because it's not working. But also, I feel like she's doing something compared to other people who don't feel like they're doing nothing.
It is successful enough that we do get a little confessional with Sejun where he says like he was able to adjust quickly because Zoe was taking care of him. So like it stuck in his brain that she was around. Like he doesn't know anybody, so at least he knows her name and who she is. So that's something.
Didn't feel like a romantic interest comment, but he was talking about her in the confessional. All right, this is when it gets good. I want to break this shit down there.
Okay.
Solgi, okay, where do we start? Solgi asks Dongwoo if she can help get the water with him.
Yeah, because he's coming out with the buckets, and they turn and they're starting to go.
Now, I thought, okay, maybe, now that I was watching this back, I was like, okay, maybe she was like planning on talking to Dongwoo. But then, Solgi asks Soe if she wants to come with them, which seems like kind of random. Mm-hmm. But then Soe is going to immediately take this opportunity to do Jungwoo a solid and be like, hey, Jungwoo, do you want to go with them?
Yeah, that was some great wing woman work right there.
Is there any chance that Solgi was maybe trying to hook up Soe with
Dongwoo and Soe? Yeah, I think they're all trying to foist people on each other.
Maybe, okay. So ultimately, though, Soe doesn't go, and then so it's going to be Dongwoo, Solgi, and Jungwoo going to get water. And this gets a big reaction from Nadine when she sees them walk away. She's like, Soe just matched them.
Yes.
Super awkward threesome, these three.
Well, they went to get water the first night, so they get to reminisce over their last water trip.
Was it Solgi the first time? I think it was. Oh, you're right, it was, yeah. Yeah, it is the same three people. Okay.
But mostly they just stare at the ocean while the water slowly fills up the bucket. And nothing really gets accomplished flirting-wise.
Dongwoo is going to try to ask her more questions, like try to get anything out of her, like how she's felt about Jin Young on his date or whatever. And Jungwoo is going to be like, he looks super uncomfortable having to listen to this conversation.
And like she says something like she still doesn't know Jin Young really well, and like both Jungwoo and Dongwoo end up kind of saying like, yeah, you got to talk to him more, I guess. And I'm like, what is this weird advice of dudes who are into her telling her to talk to some other dude? Okay, sure.
They're being nice there. They're just giving her good advice in general.
Everyone in that conversation was miserable.
I think Solgi actually says like she doesn't feel like she knows Jin Young, but then Dongwoo's like, oh, do you feel like you know me? And she's like, yes. And he's like, ooh, that might not be a good sign. He's kind of like says it out loud too.
Yep. He picks up on exactly what she's put down.
He was like, maybe I was being too open. He like kind of figured it out. But back at the cafeteria, Nadine is very impressed that Jin Young got a fire started with a blowtorch.
Yep. And
they're using a blowtorch. It's not
it.
He said, easy, next. He didn't even like
Well, also the rest of them had a really hard time the first night. Yeah. So, he gets to be the cool guy.
But he didn't even think anything he did was impressive. He was just like, yeah, of course I got it started. It's a fucking blowtorch.
Well, it wouldn't be cool if he thought he was being cool, He's got a cool guy. He's got to walk away from an explosion.
At one point, he even like pulled the blowtorch out of the like fireplace thing and like still was pressing the button down, so like flames were like shooting towards his feet, and he like didn't even give a crap about it.
Yep.
Oh, this guy's too cool.
It's just too cool.
And it's pointed out by maybe the host, I think, that Jin Young hasn't even noticed that Solgi left to get water with the two dudes that are interested in her.
He gives zero fucks.
He doesn't even care.
Is confident enough or doesn't care about her enough to worry about this.
So here's the other angle, because I'm still a little confused about, okay, what's Solgi's play here? Like, why did she ask Dongwoo to get water? Other than like, okay, maybe she's just being nice, but is she actively trying to make Jin Young jealous?
Jin Young jealous? Solid maybe. I think maybe.
I think she is. A little above 50% chance that she's doing that. Because I think she's kind of like reacting to being jealous about him talking to Nadine.
Oh,
and seeing that it kind of went well. Yeah, I think that's the angle here. This is stuff I didn't pick up on the first time I watched it, but this is spicy. I think that's
a solid possibility, yeah.
Seyeon is going to talk / watch Jin Young chop vegetables.
That's kind of like flirting, right?
Well, the show must think so, because they put on some sexy time music while this was happening.
Well, she's just like really, really close
She is
to him,
really
you know?
close, yeah.
Like she is up against him basically.
Yeah, it's like way more intimate than you get on this show, but like they're chopping vegetables together. Like this is what's happening. Yeah, I wasn't even 100% sure they were flirting, but I guess at least she was, right? She had to have
Oh
been.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
He was just being a cool guy chopping vegetables, so, you know, it's fine.
And then Zoe can't open the tuna cans, which is funny to watch.
Yeah, she's doing it all wrong.
Is she doing it wrong or is she just too small?
Yeah, I just felt like her hand was in a weird placement that wasn't going to get it open.
But Seijun, the new guy, he comes over and just helps in
Yeah.
like kind of a cool way, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't even like go, oh, here, let me help you. He just like opens one and then takes the other one from her and opens it again. Like,
This shit triggered me so hard, Sarah.
oh,
Did you notice this?
what?
Zoe is like holding the opened lid by like the sides. Like, you know how when you pull it off?
Yeah.
She's like holding it. It's like freaking me out. Like she's like gonna slice
I did
her
not
fingers
notice
off.
that. Oh, no.
But at the same time, I wrote in my notes, damn, she's so dangerous. What a badass. You just like open a tuna can and you're holding the edges of the
well, there we go.
lid. Jesus, you live dangerously.
Obviously, she belongs with Jin Young. He's too cool. She lives dangerously. They ride off into the sunset on his motorcycle.
Oh my
Perfect.
God. I was actually like cringing. I was like, no, stop. Get your hands off that. Oh my God. And then Jin Young's going to recruit Solgi to do the dishes with him.
Yes.
And then Jin Young like does his dishes like really quickly, I guess. And Solgi only did like one pot.
Yes. But he does like ask her about where she was earlier. Like, are you, it's like, are you feeling okay? Like, he shows some concern. The cool guy mask goes down for a minute.
But then he's basically going to like make fun of her for being slow at washing the dishes. And then Solgi has like a very similar reaction that she did with Dongwoo when he was being playful with her, where she kind of like walks away.
Yes.
Like in a way that is this, I because of how she ended up feeling about Dongwoo, like I still don't know if this is like a flirty kind of upset with you or like is like she actually just doesn't like being made fun of. Like I'm not 100% sure at this point.
Well, she definitely like comes back around to Jin Young later in the episode, so I don't think like.
Yeah, but she also picked Dongwoo later too, so I don't know. Yeah. I can't tell if this is like flirting or an actual kind of like minor reaction to something that then she gets over in a little bit. I can't tell.
Well, I think he is 100% flirting, but yeah, I don't know about her.
Oh, he is, yeah. Like he's just trying to make a joke about how she's bad at making dishes. Like, oh, that's such a big deal, but it's not. And then she's like, how dare you? How dare you insult me? And then walks away. The host makes something weird about how Jin Young talks to Solgi. Did you want to talk about this? I didn't fully get it.
So when he is teasing her, he's using more formal speech. So he's saying Solgi shi, which is like Ms. Solgi, I guess is the way you would translate it.
Oh, okay.
But then when he's like asking if she's okay, it's like Solgi-ya, which is like just saying Solgi. But it's the closer way to talk to somebody. So he's like switching back and forth depending on the context.
So maybe she's just bothered by his choice of language, not necessarily the actual joke itself. Like maybe she doesn't want him to use the formal with her. I don't know. Something's over my head in this scene.
I think it's only in Solgi's head and nobody else knows.
And then Seon and Nadine are gonna be laughing. I have that they're laughing at Hanbin a little bit because he's like chopping up the kimchi with two knives.
Two knives.
And they call him the cooking AI and Wolverine is what we're calling him.
And he's just like, I have so much kimchi to chop. Chill out.
Like, it looked like it would be efficient if you know how to do it, but
and I guess he does because he's a chef.
Yeah, but I couldn't tell if they were laughing. I couldn't tell if they were impressed or just thought he was being ridiculous. I couldn't tell.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay. All right, dinner is served. Finally, looks delicious again, doesn't it, sir?
Yep, usually does.
Inferno. The new girl, Minsu, is gonna go on to say like, "Oh, this place feels like heaven." Later on, so she also is not feeling the Inferno properly. Even the contestants are having trouble memorizing people's names. So
yes,
I don't feel bad not struggling with the names at first either.
Yeah,
but Minsu is pretty good. Like it seemed like she knew like at least half of them. She didn't prove she knew everybody, but everybody they quizzed her on, she knew.
And then Seijun just doesn't even try. He's like, I'll get it eventually.
But then they also joke about Jin Young, saying like, "Oh, Jin Young still needs name tags."
I
Even
mean, he
though
did just
he's
get
only like
there
one
like
day
yesterday,
more,
right? Like, it's, yeah.
Yeah, he's still relatively new.
Mhm.
But they make it seem like Jin Young like hasn't put in any effort to memorize everybody's names.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Like,
Yeah,
from
too
his
cool.
perspective, he's probably like, I don't need to know any of these guys' names at all.
Oh,
Why
the
even
guys'
bother?
names. True, yeah. Yeah, that is why he refers to people like when he's talking to Solgi later, he's like, "Oh, the guy that you talked with that time."
Mhm.
Like he like legitimately doesn't know his name. That's why he's saying that. And then they did this last season too. It's time to drink around the fire.
Yes.
And this is where I wrote my notes. Okay, I feel bad for Solgi right here. Like this, I would be like not participating in like the activity that people are doing. You know,
I mean, you could still just sit there and hang out.
that's what I would do, but I would feel like, oh yeah, I'm here, but I'm not really doing the thing that everybody's doing.
I think there were also snacks, so she could snack. But
Yeah, I was just.
yeah. I get it.
I get it, Solgi. But they're gonna ask the new people what their types are. Oh, also, Youngjae has to awkwardly sit next to Zoe because all the seats are taken.
Yes, he like tries real hard to get another seat, but like they just all fill up, and he's like,
So
okay,
awkward.
oh
So
god.
But they asked the new people what their type is, and this is Seijun's thing that I liked. He says, "Someone who thinks about others before themselves, and appearance-wise, people who look sharp. But honestly, it doesn't really matter." That's like an actual good answer
Yeah.
to this question that everybody asks on these shows, like immediately. Like, what's your ideal type? Like, I don't have an answer for this. I've never
Just
thought
like
about answering that question in my life.
someone who is not an asshole. There we go. That's my type.
Minsu, like someone with a pretty smile
And a big build.
and a big frame, yeah. Which would be Dongwoo and Yoonjae, right? If she was just like going
I
off
guess.
looks alone.
Well, Jungwoo's kind of a little broad as well, I guess, in the shoulder.
I guess, yeah. He's kind of maybe like in proportionally, but he's like not as tall, so I don't know. She also wants someone who's natural good manners.
Yes.
And makes her feel comfortable. That could be anybody.
Yeah, pretty
much. I don't know what it means. I'm worried Minsu's going to be like she isn't really part of the show, but we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully she turns around in the next episode.
Yeah. And then Solgi's going to get smoke in her eyes.
Yeah.
And then Hanbin's like, "Oh, I'll switch with you." And then because she switches, I think he has to do a little bit more than just switch with her. So
okay. I have this all laid out.
He had to make like Jungwoo move too.
Yeah, because Solgi was sitting next to Jungwoo, and on the other side of Jungwoo was Soin. So when Hanbin agreed to switch, he then made Jungwoo move into Solgi's seat so he could sit next to Soin. And it was a real smooth move, except Nadine and Solgi saw exactly what happened and were whispering about it.
I like this. I feel like we didn't get a lot of this last season where like people are like whispering to each other right in front of other people about the people that are right in front of them. This is great. And then they show a shot of Yoonjae that makes him look jealous. And then Jinyun comes in and trolls the shit out of Yoonjae and is like, "Hey, how did he get over there?" That shit was so funny.
It was pretty great.
Oh, Jin Young's the man, dude.
Although, is he too cool to be up on what's happening to know that was a thing? Or did he just...
I think this Yoonjae, Sao-eun, Soi thing is like public information.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny. Oh, yeah. Jin Young's awesome. And then they're going to kind of break off into more one-on-one talks. Night dates, Sarah, on Inferno.
Night dates, or night putting you out of your misery, I guess.
Yeah,
night rejections. True. There we go.
Dongwoo invites Solgi to talk in the cafeteria. Give me your breakdown of this conversation, Sarah.
Okay. So it is one of those conversations where sometimes when you're talking to somebody, you just have to like give them space in awkward silence to come to the point where they talk a little bit. And some of that happens here. But Solgi tells him that her impression of him changed after Paradise. And he asks her, "How so?" And she's like, "I just feel like we didn't really hit it off." And then he goes, "In what way?" And then long pause. And she says that she felt like he was treating her like someone much younger than him, and that he wasn't taking her seriously like after he found out her age. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I just wanted to like take care of you. And she's like, I get that, but I'm not into it, basically, more or less. And she's like, gives the whole, but I think we could be great friends.
Yeah. I feel bad for both of them in this conversation, honestly.
Okay.
Because it's like, it's definitely like hard to be rejected. And I can imagine that it's hard to do rejecting.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
definitely.
Somebody that like, you don't hate. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
you're not feeling it. So,
Yeah.
especially in this show where people are there to find,
Yes.
in my opinion, are there to actually find a relationship. And he's like expressing interest that she can
Mm-hmm.
see, but she's not interested back.
And it can be also hard to pinpoint the why of like, it's just like, I'm just not feeling it, is maybe not a satisfying answer always, but it is still a valid one.
Yeah. And I appreciate her speaking clearly like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that this is not something the show is trying to deter the contestants from saying to each other, because I don't know, I think it potentially makes it more interesting. I don't know, maybe they like the kind of like sad sack stories where like people think they have a chance, but they actually
There's
don't.
too
It's not
many
really
of
what
them.
I want
Yeah.
to see, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I thought this was like extremely painful for both of them. And also she's calling him Oppa in this scene.
Yes. But it is a friend Oppa. No longer a potential romantic
but
Oppa.
Do people give people like pity Oppas? Like, is he just,
Well,
does
I
this
think
make it seem like the friendship, wanting to be friends, is genuine, or is she just like being nice? I don't know.
Well, I think she's probably using Oppa here to like underscore that I think we could be good friends. Whether or not she really means that, I don't know. That's hard to tell, but I think those two things go hand in hand.
Okay, so it's unclear. I got you. Okay. Then we cut back to the fire, and like everybody is like left to talk, but we're not going to see all the people that left to talk. But somehow, and the hosts have a huge reaction to this, it's like Jin Young and then 4 girls are the only ones remaining at the fire. So I don't know, like, that means there's 2 girls not there, or, well, besides Dongwoo and Solgi, there's 1 girl that's not there, and then, 4 other guys are somewhere else right now? I don't know what happened here.
But yeah, it's Nadine, Minsu, Soi, and Sejong. But then, like, Nadine kind of disappears right away, so I don't know.
Jungwoo must have come over and gotten her, because...
Yeah,
because they were going to see them later. Yeah, but Jin Young is like, yeah, I didn't understand all the code words people were using for, like, let's go talk.
Yeah, it's like, everybody disappeared. What happened? They all just went to the bathroom. And they're like, yeah, that's what going to the bathroom means. They're going to go talk to somebody. And he's like, what? It's
like so childish. Like, I'm 100% on Jin Young's side here. Like, he's like, well, if I want to talk to somebody, I'm just like, hey, you want to go talk? Like, what are these games people are playing?
But then, like, they're asking him about like what he wants to, like, if he wants to get to know a bunch of people or something. And at this point, Solgi and Dongwoo are passing behind him, and he's like, yeah, I want to get to talk to everybody. And like, Solgi hears it, but then as she passes by, she says she's going to the bathroom, and he's like, oh, okay. Then he picks up 2 beers and follows her, so he is quickly picked up on the vernacular.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I want to talk to everybody, and then goes talks to Solgi right away. Yeah, these things really seem to happen right after each other in a way that like all the other girls probably are like, oh, he's lying to us. Like, I feel like he kind of blew it in this spot. I don't know, it wasn't as cool as he's been before.
I think he realized that she overheard him saying like, I want to talk to everybody, and went, oops, gotta go fix this.
Oh, you think he did? He's gonna kind of indicate that he didn't, but maybe he was just pretending like he didn't.
Yeah, or maybe he just saw her with Dongwoo and needed to like reassure himself what was happening or something.
I thought he saw her with Dongwoo and then got a little like, oh, I should talk to her too before the day's over. Can't
be too cool, or else nothing will happen.
Yeah, he lost a little bit of cool points here, but still pretty cool. So they're gonna go talk on like the women's porch, and then they can like it looks like 15 feet away, Jungwoo and Nadine are talking. But we don't get to hear anything they're saying.
Yeah, I want to know what's happening, but I guess it's not important.
Yeah.
But they're talking about them in that, like, I think Solgi can't see who's in there, and he's answering like it's Nadine and that guy you were talking to earlier, and like it's where he refers to him as a friend from earlier, and he says, "Oh yeah, that guy, he's a good competitor." Like he's kind of making fun of like, I think he's making fun of Jungwoo here.
I didn't take it that way. I took it like, he's joking about the situation, and
yeah, maybe
he's probably feeling confident enough himself to say it, but he does at least know that he's communicating to her that he knows that he is also interested in her.
Yeah,
that Jungwoo is also interested in her. So it's kind of just letting her know that he's aware of her situation, which I feel like is a cool thing.
Yeah, I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Especially because she follows this up with like, "Oh yeah, I just heard you say you want to talk to everyone while you were surrounded by a bunch of women, so whatever." Yeah, okay, you're right.
They laugh about that, and then she's like, jerk, but like in a playful way.
Yeah.
And then Seolgi's gonna find out that Jin Young didn't notice her getting water with Dongwoo and Jungwoo. This is so funny. She's like a little disappointed.
Yeah. So whatever her plan was did not work.
She's like, I was keeping my eyes on you. You should be keeping your eyes on me. Now, again, is this like another aggressive form of flirting? Because this is like, I think he laughs again at this because it's like every time she says something like more, what is it? What's the word? Like
more forward?
It's like more than flirting almost.
Mm.
At least in this show it is. Yeah, forward, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is some successful flirting on her part.
Yeah. But it's like aggressive flirting.
Mm-hmm.
For this show, at least.
For this show, yeah.
And then she tells him what she said to Dongwoo, and she seems like legit, like feels bad about it. And she even says like, my heart hurts. She's going to have like 3 conversations with 3 different guys back to back to back. So she's like not really fully recovered from talking to Dongwoo when she's talking to
Jin Young. It's a lot.
And then Jungwoo is like waiting on the guy's porch for her to be like done talking with Jin Young so that he can talk.
Yeah, Seolgi and Jin Young are gonna like walk off to hang out somewhere else, and he's like, "Are you sure? Aren't you tired?" And she's like, "No, I'm not tired. Let's go." But like Jungwoo sort of like intercepts them and is like, "Hey, Seolgi, let's talk." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so tired. We should talk tomorrow."
Oh, I missed the first part. Did she actually do that? Where she said she wasn't tired to somebody else? Oh, I missed that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the sense that she might be being untruthful here, but I didn't see like the hard evidence that you just said. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, he basically stops their whole attempt at hanging out somewhere else and like ushers her back to the tent and then like gives her a book with a poem to read, and it's all very cute except for the fact that she's way into Jin Young and not really into Jungwoo.
Yeah, I think he does the best he can here. Like he's not forceful or anything, but he's just like, hey, I want you to read this. Now, what is this book? Is it like a book of poems or what is this? I think
so.
Book? Okay. And it seems like he's chosen a specific poem that he wants her to read. Yes. And they show the poem, but they don't translate it for us. But the host give us the sentiment that, oh, the poem sounds just like how Jungwoo feels about her, which isn't very specific, but...
So it's a poem that says, "You're hot, and I'd like to go to paradise with you."
Yeah, I am actually kind of wondering what it said, because, like, what is he going off of here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I almost felt like putting in the effort to translate it, but decided maybe it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But he definitely still likes her. He didn't get to see this whole interaction that you just described, where she's like pretending to be tired so she doesn't have to talk to him anymore, or any more guys. Maybe she just doesn't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she had been very clear she wanted to go hang out with Jin Young some more, but given that Jungwoo kind of swooped in, her only other option was, I guess I'll sleep.
Oh, she was going to go talk with Jin Young some more?
Yeah, Jin Young had been like, let's go hang out some more over there. And he was like, are you sure you want to go? Aren't you sleepy? And she's like, no, I'm not sleepy. And then when Jungwoo came over, she was like, oh no, damn. I'm too sleepy.
Oh man, okay, well, that changes my perspective on the percent chance that Jungwoo has a chance. Damn.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I mean, as long as cool guy Jin Young's around, he doesn't stand a chance at all. But I think if things went sour with Jin Young in a way where she wasn't just going to hold out hope that he would come back to her, she's got Jungwoo waiting in the wings. Like, that's why she hasn't shut this down entirely, right? Like,
there's just not enough time in the show for, like, Jin Young and Seolgi to, like, be exclusive with each other and then realize that they're not a good match, you know? Like, there's just not enough time for that, even though, like, ultimately that's probably the most likely scenario, and then maybe Jungwoo would have a chance after that, but it's just not, there's no time for that to happen on this show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. One more conversation that we need to get to.
It feels like we don't need it though. Like I feel like we know everything and they know everything, but okay.
Yeah. Well, Young Jae promised her that he would
True.
get with her, so he is fulfilling his promise here, even though, and he doesn't know that Soe has figured it out,
Mhm.
but she has. And Young Jae is super uncool in this conversation too. Like,
Yes.
he's so awkward and like maybe doesn't know how to reject somebody or just feels so bad about it that like he can't say the words. Like he can't bluntly reject her. Like it was hard for Solgi, but she did get the words out. But like he is not getting the proper words out, right?
Like he's saying eventually he got around to saying it would be better for him to talk to other people. And I'm like, given the context of yesterday, that could mean people other than the person you picked yesterday. Or people other than the person you thought was going to stay with you yesterday. Like, he's too vague.
He doesn't know to not be vague.
Yeah.
And be nice. So he's like, I don't know. He's just not saying the right words.
Exactly. But she's like, okay, when you say other people, like, we're being honest, right? You don't mean other people. You mean someone, right? And he's just like, yes. And just, it's awkward. But finally it's over, maybe? But then they talk a lot about how she still wants to be friends. And I'm like, you're not going to be friends, but okay, sure.
Maybe they could be. I don't know. It's hard because there's like this weight on Yunjae, I feel like, whenever he's around Soe, that like he's so aware that Soe is into him that he doesn't know how to act around her.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there could be like a different phase of their relationship where like if he doesn't feel that pressure anymore and so he has kind of like let that go, that
yeah, I don't think there's time for that on this show. Like, it would take time for her to
not
feel so sad, and I think it would take time for him to not feel bad about rejecting her.
I hope they just hang out and it's cool.
But, like, would you just hang out with anybody on the show if you're not, like, I don't know. I feel like you're trying to maximize your amount of time you can spend with somebody to figure things out, right?
So he's got nothing going on right now, but we'll see.
That's true.
But, like, even just, I don't know. It seems crazy to me that Zoe had, like, such strong emotions that, like, she's not going to be able to be friends with him. Like, I need like at least a month to recover from this relationship that never existed. You know, like it's.
I don't know. She's real sad all the time.
She is real sad. Yeah, it is a little crazy how into this guy she was.
Based on his smell.
Based on his smell, yeah. That's all. Oh, I missed that part. Okay, that was another weird part where he like rushed out of the tent to go talk to Saoun earlier, and then Saoun comes out of the tent and is like, dang, did you spray a bunch of cologne on her?
Or just like, who smells like cologne or something? He's like, oh yeah, that's me. I did not piece that together until now,
Yeah, so like clearly he was like nervous and like maybe put on too much cologne or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The dude was just not smooth throughout the whole thing. To me at least. Yeah. So he's super mature in this conversation. In a way that like is attractive to me, you know? But like no one is seeing it but Youngjae, who isn't interested. So it's, I don't know. I really want to see Zoe get a chance to go to paradise with somebody, and then like we get to at least see her occupation, and maybe like the word trickles out that Zoe's like not as awkward as she seems she is, you know?
I wanna see more of her dancing. I'm hoping that's like her main thing, and
Zoe seems cool to me. I don't know. I don't have a problem with her. She
just seems very, very young.
You think she's very young? I don't know. Really? She seems more mature than some of these people. So.
Oh, okay.
I think she's just a petite lady, you know.
I don't think it's because of her size. I think it's.
Oh, you think based on how she's acting, she's young?
And her like just the way she speaks is so. I mean, maybe she's not young. Maybe she's just very unconfident.
I want to say she's older than Solgi. That'd be my guess.
Interesting. I hope we find out.
She only has to be like 26, but which is actually could be like 24. So she's still pretty young. But you know, relative to the girls, I don't know if she's necessarily the youngest.
Okay. I mean, I think she's the youngest, but we'll see.
I know. I hope we get to find out. Jeez.
I mean, if not, like people already know these people's Instagrams and have figured everything out about them already. I have not looked at that stuff, but it's information we can find out later if they never go to paradise.
That's true. So yeah, at the end, though, he's like, "Thanks for telling me," to Yunjae, and Yunjae's like, "No, there's nothing for you to thank me for."
I'm like, "That's right."
Yunjae knows that he is being terrible in this situation, but he just like doesn't know what to do. Yeah. I like that at least it showed some self-awareness from Yoonjae. And then Soe tries to like make him laugh.
Yeah,
at
she's
some
like
point,
trying to
and
comfort
he doesn't
him.
laugh because he's like still kind of like shell shocked at how, and like maybe a little embarrassed at like how well she's taking it. I don't know. He's like he really doesn't know what to do.
He low-key sucks. Like
She
shouldn't
it's
have
not that
to
low-key.
she shouldn't have to comfort him when she's being rejected. Like, ugh, it sucks.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how hard it is to reject somebody that's like crazy into you, you know. And then they give an awkward handshake, or Zoe gives him an awkward handshake, and they leave.
Oh yeah,
like a business deal.
Oh, handshakes are the worst. But
that was good.
It was weird.
That was a good handshake, though.
Okay.
for me to watch it. And then we're actually going to make it the day 5 morning.
Jungwoo is just hanging out with Seolgi while she's doing her hair, and it seems, I don't know, he's just there. It's like first thing in the morning when, hey, what's up?
I don't know how early in the morning it is, but yeah, he's there. He's basically like come to check on her, make sure she's feeling better.
Yeah, he is actually being nice.
Seolgi is still giving off the vibe that she appreciates, like, the attention and care that he's giving her. So, again, like, Jungwoo, I think Jungwoo is justified in his, like, even he knows it's probably not a high % chance, but, you know, it's a chance. And as long as there's a chance, I don't have an issue with anybody continuing to pursue the one person they think they like the most. Yeah. But yeah, what's the announcement, Sarah?
Oh, yes, we get an announcement that today only the new folks can choose who they want to go to paradise with.
Now, it doesn't specifically say that, but that's what we're guessing, right? It doesn't specifically that like, oh, they get to choose somebody and they don't have to match. Like, it could be like, oh, they get to try to match.
Yeah.
And then if they don't match, they don't get to go.
It is unclear,
it's probably
but
not.
It's probably they just pick somebody and go to paradise.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem with this, but
I mean, it's kind of a bummer that like only 2 couples get to go, right? And they can't also pick each other, which I mean would be a fun wrinkle, at least for production, because they're hoping these people mess things up. But I don't know.
Oh, could they not pick? Can they not pick each other? That's a good question.
Probably not.
Why wouldn't they be? I think production would allow it. And again, like we're still gonna get all the Inferno interaction between everybody that doesn't go. So
yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't see anything else other than that.
Yeah, the decision will be made this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to speculate on what's gonna happen in these next episodes? That's what
okay. Sure.
I actually took a lot of notes on the after the next time on.
Oh, this time I didn't take notes on the next.
Oh, you didn't? I actually took a lot of notes on the next time.
Okay, so you gotta roll us through it.
For whatever reason, I was feeling it. My questions were though: do you think the new people will have to match? You think no?
I think no.
Will any of the people in a couple try to go to paradise with the new people? And the couple, what would you say the couples are at this point? I have Yoonjae and Saoun.
Yes.
That's probably like the mainest couple. And then Jin Young and Seolgi, I guess you could say they're as close to a couple as you can be on the show.
And that's it.
But do you think any of those 4 will indicate to the new people that they would be willing to go to paradise with them?
Well, Jin Young's too cool to indicate anything to anyone, right?
Or is he too cool to not indicate?
He'll just be there and he'll be cool, and maybe Minsu will pick him because of that.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
No, Yoonjae would lose his absolute mind, so no.
I know, I wanted so bad. I want Saoun to go with this new guy so bad.
No,
she's bubbly, remember? She's bubbly.
That's true, but does he know
She can't hold back that bubbliness.
That's
he's
true.
gonna notice. Oh, this would be awesome.
But I really want him to pick Zoe. Like, I want that poor girl to go to paradise, or at least to have some sort of rebound situation.
I do feel bad for Sully, but I almost just for my entertainment purposes want Saoun to go with this guy. Just to see Yoonjae. Because Yoonjae, it's like even a second time, he's like probably gonna lose all his confidence again and have like the same reaction. It's gonna be terrible.
Oh, but I kind of low-key hope that Sejun picks Soun and then Minsu picks Youngjae, just because like then he has to watch her be with some other guy in the helicopter and then just be like, oh, they're so close but so far away.
Yeah. Based on her descriptions, it seems like she would pick Yoonjae or Dongwoo, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. We didn't really get anything in Dinner with Her, so we'll
Yeah.
have to see what. I'm sure they're going to talk before they get to choose. Okay, here's some things that were said in the credits, or
Okay.
in the next time on.
Preview. Yeah.
Minsu says the person I was interested in is Young Jae.
Oh, indicating no longer.
Or
Maybe.
she chose somebody else when she learned about all the dynamics going on.
Shenanigans. Yeah.
Or she was and then chose him anyway. That's
Okay.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then immediately after this, Sawin says, "And I'm not okay with it, but what can I do?" And then she also has some sort of possessive line like Yoonjae had, where it's like, I don't want him to be taken away from me, or like something like that. Jungwoo, his feelings for Solgi have gotten even stronger, but I hate how she makes me feel confused.
Oh,
That's a great line from Jungwoo. So he's figuring it out a little bit, maybe.
it does not sound like he's figuring it out at all. No. It sounds like
well, his feelings are getting stronger, but his mind might be figuring it out. You know?
I don't.
Those things don't have to go in the same direction, Sarah. It's okay.
Okay. I just think there's no hope for this poor boy.
Solgi is going to be crying pretty good at some point for some reason.
I'm going to assume it's because Jin Young hangs out with somebody else.
Hopefully Jin Young goes to Paradise with Nadine. I hope we get like more Paradise dates than just the one episode's worth. Which I think we will, because I think so far the next time on has mostly been on whatever's going to be in the next two episodes. But they show both the women's sand wrestling and the men's like water mud pit wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're both going to happen in the next two episodes, but if they do, we're probably going to get a lot of like, you just get to pick somebody to go, and then we might get a lot of like people picking the person they're already coupled up with, and then they won't spend a lot of time in Paradise with that couple potentially.
Oh, yeah,
so that's why we might get a lot of Paradise dates in the next two episodes. I'm not sure.
That's true.
But in the men's water mud pit wrestling, it seems like Jin Young and someone else are going to team up against Jungwoo and like try to eliminate him, which looks really cruel.
Yes.
But I can't tell if someone else is. I can't tell if it's Youngjae or it might be the new guy, Sejun. Why they would be teaming up, I'm not sure.
Well, they did that sort of wrestling last season, and there was definitely like, because it's whoever is last in the pit wins, right? So if you're working together early on to get other people out,
there is like some strategy to it. Now the women's wrestling looked like it might be more of a one-on-one tournament kind of deal, whereas the men's one is like a free-for-all, like you can work together if you want to.
That's the one that they did last season where the top 3 got to just pick somebody to go.
I think it'll be similar.
Paradise.
That's my guess. If people haven't watched season 1, like what's weird about it is like if you get second, like you can't pick whoever the first guy picks.
Yeah.
And then I think the shittiest part of what happened last year is that when the guy made his decision that you didn't like, he picked a girl that it seemed like the guy that was going to pick third was going to have to choose between two girls.
Yeah, so we didn't get to see that decision play out.
Yeah, he took one of them away, so we didn't get to see what that guy would have chosen.
So it was less meaningful when he picked the other girl, yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say?
I don't know. You got any spicy pairings you're looking forward to? Other than the new people messing things up?
Yeah, it kind of, like, because it's only the two people, that's, like, what they cliffhangered us. Like, we're not immediately going to get, like, Jin Young and Nadine.
Right.
Which sucks, because, like, that's what I was looking forward to. So it's a little bit of, like,
same.
It's probably, like, one of the worst cliffhangers that this show has had. But assuming we're going to get, like, 2 rounds of Paradise dates next time, I want to see Jin Young and Nadine for sure.
Yeah, same. That's my top priority.
I wouldn't mind seeing Yoonjae get jealous again.
Okay.
I don't have anybody in particular I want to see Zoe go to Paradise with, but I do want to like find out her age and occupation. So I almost don't care who she goes with, but there's nobody like, oh, I really want to see this person with Zoe. And I kind of hope I hope something happens with Jungwoo. That isn't totally depressing, you know? Like either he gets his date and it's whatever, or he moves on and hopefully has a positive spin on the experience. That's all I want. I'm not rooting for Jungwoo to be sad like I am Yoonjae to be jealous again, you know?
I think that's a good call. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he will just have the sad ending, but
Yeah.
I hope for better for him.
Is that just like a thing that the show wants in every season? They're like, well, we have to have the sad sack person?
I guess.
Or are they just doing it
I
because
mean, if
that's actually the full narrative of somebody?
if everybody paired up with somebody appropriately and everybody walked off at the end, would the show consider that a success? Probably not, right? Because it wouldn't be very suspenseful.
I don't know. I'd be happy.
Well, yeah, but would production
I don't
be
know
happy?
I don't know if they're only trying to make me happy, but next time, Singles Inferno 2, episodes 7 and 8.
Oh, yeah.
Not the final 2 episodes, though.
That's right. 2 more after that.
And then our next 2 episodes will be Singles Inferno 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm still excited about going to WWE Monday Night Raw on January 23rd and podcasting about that. And then we're going to watch the Royal Rumble 6 days later on that Saturday. And we're going to podcast about that.
We got a full schedule.
I can't wait to hear Sarah's reactions. So that'll be fun as well. Yeah. That's all I got, Sarah. Anything else?
No.
All right. Where can people contact us?
People can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com, tweet at us at keepwatchingpod, Instagram at us at keepwatchingpod, or leave a comment on YouTube also at keepwatchingpod. And if you're feeling spicy today, you can leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Yes. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.